fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction, he's got everything outside of both of them! Maloney!
Oh, he's taken Anderson! Anderson's up to
Oh my god!
Big crash! Oh my goodness, half the field's gonna get rolled!
Second very close. These guys are want to make their way through the field very quickly.
Oh, there we go!
Oh no! That's massive! This is it! This is over! I can't believe this! Oh my god!
God, what?
Welcome one and welcome all to SimSpeed TV this Friday night. Virtual Racing School V8SCOPS is on once again this weekend, and that means that the Racing Sims V8SCOPS support series is back on here at Road Atlanta. Event 5 of the season. We've got the Flat Sixes and the Legends up in our support classes here tonight. Two 25-lap races in the Porsche 911s and a 10-minute race in the Legends Coupes. My name is Reese Gardner. Joining me once again for the Flat Sixes is Simon Mazzomo. Simon, last time we talked together was the round at Mosport where we saw a bit of controversy erupt at the front of the field.
Yes, it was a bit of an interesting round, that one. It's been way too long, Reese. We need to do this more often, but yeah, it was a very interesting round. Certain things happened that led to certain results. We can argue as much as we want about what should have occurred in that situation, but what has happened, and now we move on to round 2. So this is the chance for those who didn't have a very good round to get a bit of amends here at Road Atlanta.
Indeed, Road Atlanta, of course, located in Georgia, just outside the locality of Braselton. It's a very historic circuit. It's been around since the year 1970, and it has been hosting top flight American sports car racing ever since, turning 51 years old this year, and the layout has barely changed at all, apart from the addition of the 10A and 10B chicane at the end of the lap, and the flattening of the hump through what is turn 8 there on the back straight. But what's really the highlight of this circuit, Simon, is the S's section from turn 3 down to turn 5. It is fantastic to bring any car around that section of the circuit. You got to be careful of the curbs, but you can push really hard.
Yeah, absolutely. As you can see on screen now, it is a very, very steep drop and so much commitment you need to get it done. You can see Bo Albert going through there at the moment, using just enough curb. It's one using a bit too much curb at that point, but yeah, it's absolute commitment. And if you get that right, there's just so much time you can actually gain. The one thing too, you mentioned obviously how quick it is. The corner that's right in front of us, where the car number 10 is going through now, you've really got to pull the car up right there to get it rotated around that corner. So, you know, linking that all together and then trying to make that final part work is incredibly hard. So, and these cars with not as much aero grip, it's all mechanical for these things, but they're so light and nimble that it doesn't really sort of phase them too much. But in aero cars, that is a spot where you've just got to get it right 100% of the time.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a very difficult sequence of turns. We're looking at Martin Noble at the moment for KRF Motorsports, and it's a very special day for Mr. Noble and his team. It is the 10th anniversary of Mark's joining of the iRacing service and of KRF Motorsports being founded. KRF standing for Kimmy's Rural Fencing. But wow, what a great anniversary for Mr. Noble. And he certainly achieved a lot in that time. KRF has been competing in leagues right across the board in the Australia, New Zealand sim racing scene, and still going strong today.
Yeah, I just heard about this before we sort of came on. 10 years, like that's just, you know, I've sort of haven't been around sim racing, hit the 10-year mark yet, but to be able to do that, to say you've been around this long and always being there, like whether it be SCOPS, whether it be this series, even other series that I've been a part of and run, you know, the KRF guys are always there. So it's just remarkable to think that, yeah, even now, still competing at a top level too, like to keep motivated and commitment to do that. Yeah, phenomenal stuff. They should all be really proud of that.
Yeah, certainly should, and Mark himself as well, you know, to be sticking at it for that long. Well, we're in qualifying at the moment for the Porsches here at Road Atlanta, and we're taking a look at Mr. Thomas Hinz in the number 52. Of course, he was one of the cars involved in that controversial incident on the back straight at Mosport in the previous round of this series, and he got quite a bit of flack for his part in it, but that, of course, is a matter for the past, and all drivers have moved on, I would like to think, from that incident, and we can get back to what is hopefully some good, hard racing without too much contact around Road Atlanta. Hinze currently in 8th place in qualifying, but Riley Preston, the guy who topped the practice session on a 1 minute 21.712, he's currently in 3rd on a 22.084. Bo Albert has managed to put himself into the 21.7s, and that is going to be a good opening salvo there from Mr. Albert, who is battling with Mr. Preston for the lead of the championship.
Yeah, that's a battle we hope to continue. We had so many opportunities to see that battle go right down to the wire, and unfortunately, yeah, just situations out of either driver's control. Bo had that pedal issue in the first race, which, yeah, unfortunately cost him the win there, and then obviously, yeah, that issue you mentioned earlier. So it'd be good to see the times are still relatively close. You can see Kobe Jones as well, very, very close in times there at the moment. So might see a few different names pop up, and it'd be good to see, you know, just a few different names getting up in the battle for the lead. You know, it's only round 2. There's still plenty of this championship left to run.
Yeah, absolutely. We've still got quite a few rounds of the Porsches to go before the end of the V8SCOPS season. Excuse me. Got a bit of phlegm in my throat that I'm trying to get rid of, but going through the S's at the moment here, Mr. Jaden Mollenhauer, the other KRF car in this session, is currently in 13th place, and that's 3 places ahead of team leader Mark Noble, just dipping his way through the turns towards the back end of the circuit, and Luke Swan making his way into the top 10 in the number 11 car, just lifting over the crest, and I think that's going to be costing him a little bit of time as Cameron Dance pulls it into the pits we just saw. Dance currently running in 5th. Mr. Nathan Tregarthen, top 15 for him, but he has to pull over there on the back stretch to let the Fusion Sim Racing car of Brett Hender by. And Brett has been taking part in quite a bit of the V8SCOPS support events this season. Today, he is joined by a teammate in the 551 car, Mr. Scott Stevens, in the pits at the moment.
Yeah, get a look at some point, but Brett Hender coming to the line at 23.1. That moves him up to P11, so a very good time there. Just over a second off the lead at the moment. Just having a look at those times, the lead pack, see Adam Gardner on screen in 8th at the moment. That lead group within a second of each other, and then you sort of get the midfield pack as well, who are all very, very close in times too. So it's looking good. There could be a bit of a, you know, you might have the quick guys up front, but there's definitely going to be battle packs forming already from what we can see in qualifying, coming to the line with the 22.5. It's not an though that is an improvement, but doesn't go up any places at all. He'll stay in 8th place.
Yeah, he still needs about a 10th and a bit in order to jump Thomas Hinz. For 7th does Adam Gardner in the Mach 1 machine. Mr. Preston coming to the end of another lap here, and when we were looking at him earlier, saw him go off at the final turn. He's actually going to abandon this lap as well. He's having a bit of trouble extracting the pace that he wants out of that car in this qualifying session, despite topping practice. Yeah, he did run a bit wide out of the last turn. On the previous occasion, we were watching him and invalidated the lap right at the end. Brady Baldwin, meanwhile, in the number 7, the owner of Oceanic Dirt Sim Events, whose 360 Power series we broadcast on Thursday nights on SimSpeed TV. You can check out the VOD for our broadcast of the Eldora round just last night. Baldwin, 29.7, and putting himself still P12. That's not going to be an improvement for him. That's actually an outlap, I believe, that he has just gone on for. What about Benjamin Faulkner? Currently P6. Let's see if he can improve.
Yeah, coming up over the hill. This is another interesting corner to talk about too, because you can see it comes up over a ridge and drops down. Very easy to get the car unsettled, and this corner here, was talking to a couple of drivers earlier, they reckon you can keep it flat through that corner, but it's very hard to do and very sketchy. In qualifying trip, they reckon they can do it, but when it comes to the racing, they'll probably be wanting to lift a little bit just so they don't go too far, because yeah, once you hit that grass, that's it, game over.
Yeah, especially in these cars. The Porsche 911, of course, famous for its rear engine layout. That flat six engine hangs out past the rear axle, and if the rear end gets a bit of a slide on, you do want the rear end to kick out a little bit, just to allow a bit more freedom and a bit more rotation. But there you see Jaden Mollenauer demonstrating what can go wrong coming over the crest. Once the rear end gets a bit too much slip on it, it is indeed game over. Isaac Edwards currently in 17th place on a 24-1, and I think that's going to be the start of a hot lap for him. Let's see what he can do. He hasn't got much time to gain in order to jump Mark Noble for 16th overall. Meanwhile, Kobe Jones coming up to the start of a hot lap here. Another run at potential pole position.
Yeah, times are very, very close at the moment. So he's only about 2/10 off Bo for that pole time. He's got Riley Preston also very, very close too. So he'll be wanting to try and get a really good lap out. Reese Harnell on screen at the moment, currently running down the back in 19th spot. So previous lap was a 24. Previous lap was the out lap. So this will be his flying lap as well. Down the long straight into the turn A. A hard braking zone. You've really got to pull these things up and then try and use all the curb. And he's done a beautiful job there. Use all the curb coming out. Very nicely done. So this is looking like a very good run over the crest. He'll be coming to the line. We'll want to see what kind of time he's done. It's looking pretty promising at the moment. We'll see if he gets to the line. 24-1. That will bring him up to P18. So bit of a time improvement, but he probably been wanting a little bit more with that one. He's now locked in with Isaac Edwards.
Yeah, certainly is. And crossing the line there, the Mach 1 car, as Riley Preston crosses the line, sets a 22.8. He's not going to be entirely happy with that one. I think he might have had a couple of mistakes somewhere along the line. Let's see if he can indeed match the promise that he showed in practice. Cameron Dance will be looking for a bit of improvement here as well. If he can gain just 100th of a second, he will jump Timothy Fabian for 4th place in the standings as they are at the moment, and using quite a bit of the curb there in the S's, and you see the amount that the car just bounces as it comes off those curbs. Very basic suspension on these Porsche 911 GT3 Cup cars. You can't adjust anything in terms of the suspension. You just got to work with what you've been given, and doesn't like giant curbs like the ones that rode Atlanta, as that is off the track there for Cam, and well, he doesn't seem too bothered.
Judging by that, he's pretty cool about this one. So, oh man, yeah. Anyways, we'll move on. Isaac Edwards coming up.
Don't drink and drive, kids.
Don't do it. Coming to the line out of the final quarter. We'll see if there's going to be improvement in this time. Taking a nice tight line. There is 1:24.2. Doesn't look like there's an improvement there. No improvement at all. Just about a 10th off his fastest time. So still hunting for a bit of pace there. Yeah, probably should be able to keep on with it and do another one. Try and have another crack at it. The good thing with these cars is you can get a couple of laps out of them. They sort of hit their optimal. That first lap is probably their optimal time, but you can still actually have another go in the second lap. The tyres don't fall away too much. So if you go very wide out of that corner, so maybe might be an invalidated lap there. Timothy Fabian coming out of 10B, heading up over the climb. Currently sitting P4. He's going to go straight to pit lane, so it doesn't look like he's going to improve that time.
Well, only 15 seconds left in the session, and as we were talking, Riley Preston jumped Kobe Jones for second place. He won't be entirely happy with that, as he had the pace to put it on pole, but he won't have time to set another hot lap. Cameron Dance, though, is on his final run of the session. as the checkered flag flies. Let's see if the number 6 can improve on what is currently 5th place. Again, all he needs is 100th of a second, and he can jump Timothy Fabian. If he can somehow find 0.3 of a second, he'll be able to get into the top 3, pipping Kobe Jones. But down through the dip towards the end of the lap, up to 10A and 10B, as you said, Simon, a very heavy braking zone, and you go through a dip there, so you can really maximize braking performance. How much of the exit curb does he use? Yeah, a reasonable amount. Sticks to the right over the top of the crest, and then just on the verge of being flat out through the final turn. A 22.1 for Mr. Dance, 22.099 to be exact. He does indeed jump Fabian for 4th.
He'd be happy about that one. He definitely would be feeling. Cam's a bit of an expert in these cars, so he definitely feels like he probably want to be in the top 4 at least for this battle. You can see Brett O'Keefe at the moment looking quite slow. I wonder if he's still on this lap. Didn't look that quick through 10B. Looks like he's going straight for pit lane, so that should be it. I don't think we have any other cars on a lap, so that'll be qualifying done.
Indeed, that looks to be the case. So we can take you through the starting grid now for the first of our 225 lap races tonight. Bo Albert is the pole sitter. Riley Preston, his championship rival, on the front row with him. Kobe Jones and Cameron Dance are going to make up row 2, with Timothy Fabian and Benjamin Faulkner competing the top 6. In 7th and 8th, it's going to be Thomas Hinz and Adam Gardner, with Luke Swan and Scott Stevens rounding out the top 10.
Now we're looking at Brett Hender in P11. Brady Baldwin will be rounding out P12. Jaden Mollenhauer in 13th. Adam Moore in 14th. Shane Best coming in 15th spot. Nathan Tregarthen 16th. Mark Noble in 17th place. Isaac Edwards rounding out the 18th spot, with Reese Harnell and Brett O'Keefe rounding out the grid.
Indeed, we do have Sebastian Flock and Max Lumsden also in this session, but neither of them set times in qualifying. We have Ben Christensen and Henry King, or maybe just Henry King there in the race control slot, but at least Sebastian Flock is taking to the grid behind Brett O'Keefe there. Looks like Max Lumsden might not. So the vast majority of our drivers setting times in that session, the top 20 at the very least. And now we can confirm briefly that Ben Christensen, who we're looking at on screen at the moment, is indeed in race control. So he's going to be checking out everything that's going on the circuit, check in with the Zoom feed, and if any incidents are reported, he is going to look into them and potentially hand out a couple of slaps on the wrist.
Yeah, you can see the fear in his eyes having to deal with these drivers tonight. I've been in that spot before. It's not fun, but we need people to do it. And that's what makes these series so good, is that you've got people committed, like Ben is, to actually sit here and keep an eye on the racing and make sure that everyone races fair and clean, because that's what we want to see. We want to see good, hard racing, but we want to see it fair.
Absolutely, we do. Only 40 seconds left in the gridding time, and the start is going to be a difficult one. As you can see, the grid actually extends around the last corner, so not only are the final couple of rows of the grid going to be starting on a very steep downhill slope, they're going to have to negotiate a turn before they get to the start-finish line, and if someone messes up their launch, well, that's going to make things very difficult for everyone around them. So we'll keep a very close eye on that. If there is an incident in the back, we certainly hope there won't be, but it is a possibility. 5 seconds left, and the drivers will have all made their way onto the grid. And a couple of technical issues there for Bo Albert in pole position, but here we go. The revs are rising. The Racing Sims V8SCOPS Support Series Flat 6s at Road Atlanta is go, as there's more technical issues for Bo Albert, and he's bogged down off the start. Riley Preston doing a fantastic run, but have a look at the start from Cameron Dance, trying round the outside as they make it 3 wide into turn 1. Riley Preston keeping to the inside, taking the lead back from Dance, but Bo Albert falling back to second. Not a good run for him, as it looks like everyone has kept it clean through the first turn.
Yeah, fantastic jump there. Cam just trying to as much as he can to get around the outside, but Preston perfectly got off the line really, really well, just managed to hold out. You can see him coming down the hill now. Everyone's streaming themselves out, all single file. Can't really run too wide through there, so very good job. You can see one car off the back as well. There was a few others, and oh, there's a big wreck. Got a Mach 1 car that's around. That looks like a big hit.
Yeah, certainly does. That's Adam Gardner, who has come a cropper. And it looks like he's actually done that by himself, running into the grass off the exit of turn 5. Fortunately, he hasn't taken anyone with him. And that car that we saw at the very back of the grid was Nathan Tregarthen. He's elected to go for a pit lane start, but he's gone off the track at turns 6 and 7. Meanwhile, the race does stay green. Riley Preston leading the way with the top 4 now, starting to break away from the rest of the field. We see Benjamin Faulkner and Thomas Hinz in their own battle as well, trying to keep up with everything that's going on, but one lap complete of 25. Brett Hender and Scott Stevens remaining within the top 10. Is Scott Stevens actually moving up a couple of spots. Brett Hender staying in 11th. Timothy Febben has lost 5 spots on the first lap, and we've got basically everyone from 3rd to 6th having 1 position change from their grid spotters. There's a move there coming into turn 3, and that is quite the interesting part of the circuit. Shane Best making his way past Mark Noble there.
Yeah, see on feed. Seb Flock, he's actually up 7 spots at the moment, so he's had a really good start in this one, but he's all over the back of Adam Moore at the moment, looking, they're going to have a go down into the corner. Yep, that's going to be an easy move done. Doesn't make it difficult for him, so that's up 8 spots now. So now we'll be looking at Jaden Mollenhauer, who's going to be just in front. So a fantastic start. Seb probably needs to be a bit further up front for what his pace is, but the battle for the lead is on at the moment. Riley having to go defensive. Bo trying to go around the outside. He's really on the braking limit there. It looks like he's actually got it done. They're going to go side by side. Riley been trying to get the drive off the corner, but guess what? The next corner is a left-hander, and Bo's going to have the inside line, and they're going to try and make it too wide. They absolutely are. Cam's going to get involved too. This is going off. It's only lap 3, boys. We got nearly 22 left to go.
That's me. Kobe Jones had a bit of a sniff at a podium spot there, as well as Albert now secures the lead over Riley Preston. What a fantastic clean battle between those drivers throughout the last half of the second lap. This race is absolutely crazy so far. I love the racing that Road Atlanta puts on. Let's see if Bo can defend that there from Riley as they use all of the curb on the exit of turn 5. It's a very bumpy curb, very easily can unsettle you, and you see how much Bo is fighting the wheel in his sim cockpit at the moment. These cars a handful at any time of the day, and a little bit of slight sliding there through turn 7, and that's slightly messed up the exit for him, so Riley's going to have another go.
Yeah, now he's going to put Bo in put him in the same spot that Bo was last lap, trying to go around the outside. But Riley's definitely got a lot of run. That he's got momentum as they head up to the braking zone. He's got his nose just in front. Is he going to try and outbrake him around the outside? Bo sending it just as hard. They're going to stay side by side again for the second lap in a row. Cam Dance behind, thinking, come on boys, keep at it. I'm going to make a winner out of this one. But it looks like Bo's just going to stay in front. They're not going to go side by side in the final turn. Riley Preston right out wide. He's just going to hold on to it, but he's probably going to lose a couple of spots. There goes Cam and Kobe. So that one not working out well at all, but he's still on the track. He hasn't got any damage. Now he's just going to focus forward and try and get those spots back again.
Indeed, yeah, Riley's problem there was he took a very narrow line coming into the last turn, and ultimately the fronts were not willing to cooperate at the other end of the corner. So let's see what Riley can do to try and get himself back onto the podium, but that's given a little bit of breathing room here to Bo Albert. He now leads by 9/10 of a second. That's exactly what the Logitech G Altus esports driver will want. But now Kobe Jones is the meat in the sandwich. Thomas Hinz has made his way past Benjamin Faulkner, by the way, and they're making a trio with Tim Febben, who's trying his best to regain some spots there. He's regained 2 from the last time we checked in with him, back up into 8th place as Brady Baldwin and Scott Stevens now completing the top 10 as here we go for 2nd, 3rd and 4th. Riley Preston in the double draft of Cameron Dance and Kobe Jones. 3 wide in the braking zone for turn 10. Oh dear, oh dear. Take it easy, boys. Cameron Dance keeping himself ahead of Kobe Jones. Oh, there we go. Kobe turned around in 10A with Riley Preston getting into him in the braking zone, and Kobe's going to be very unhappy with that.
Kobe was doing a fantastic job there. We'll get a look at the replay and see what's actually going on here. That was so unfortunate. You see him running down into 10A. Now, it's a big braking zone, as we mentioned earlier, and trying to do this 3 wide, that's just very, very risky. Try and get a look here. Doesn't look good for Riley there. Definitely looks like he washed out into the door. There was definitely a bit of tyre-on-tyre contact, which obviously just made that impact 10 times worse. So stewards have been alerted to it, but I got a feeling that Riley might be in a little bit of trouble there.
Yeah, well, Preston was trying to follow Dance through on Jones there, but I think just a little bit too much load on the front tyres and they just gave up. So through he went into the side of Kobe Jones, and Kobe is now down in 14th place, 11 spots lost from his starting position now. So let's see what he can do to try and work his way back up. Taking a look now at Brady Baldwin, Scott Stevens, and Brett Hender. Hender and Stevens there up at the front of the field, and Scotty, I think, needs to update his livery on the SimSpeed website, because he's still running the old Fusion Sim Racing livery, the red, white, and purple. No, my apologies, I got him swapped. That's Brett, who is running the old livery. Scott, of course, with the brand new Fusion Sim Racing paint job. Scott is the team's painter, and he's put up a nice, clean livery for the new generation of cars. As behind him there is a move up the inside of Brady Baldwin goes Sebastian Flock, who's continuing to make up positions here. Some fantastic pace from starting off the back of the grid.
Yeah, starting right down the back up to P10, so up 11 spots. So that's a fantastic effort, and you know, he's got the 2 cars in front. I think he's got the pace at the moment. The times he's been setting in clear air have been fairly close to what the leaders are doing. He's only a couple of tenths off them, so Sebastian's definitely going to be on a hard charge. We can see another battle on screen at the moment between Isaac and Adam Gardner. There's a lot of damage on the front of that car at the moment, but it's still looking competitive. Having a look up the inside, it's probably going to be a bit of drag happening with the front of that car being so dent up. So straights are probably not going to be Adam's best friend at the moment.
Yeah, certainly not. Adam, of course, was the driver that we saw spinning on lap 1 out of turn 5, and that's the damage he picked up from clobbering the wall. Behind the draft of Isaac Edwards, though, he's having a nice old time sitting behind in the draft, but you see that he has to really push in the braking zone to try and get by. There is probably a bit more drag on that car than Mr. Gardner would like at the moment, but he does get a good exit out of the chicane as we go to a virtual racing school replay of the start, and this was where Bo Albert briefly lost that pole position, but would soon gain it back a couple of laps later.
Yeah, just having a watch at the start at the moment. I think we're going to have a look at what actually happened with Adam. I got a feeling he actually had it. Yep, there it is. Did not get it off the line at all. It just bogged. It's very easy for these cars as well. You can use what's called like a double clutch on these things, and getting that bite put, you need to nail it. Otherwise, yeah, it'll just either sit there or spin, or it just won't go anywhere. So very important to get that right. You can see them coming over the hill at the moment. Definitely looked a bit scattered through there. Having a look as they go down the hill, because it's just out of this corner here. So everything's looking perfectly fine there. It's just blowing through. Now we're going to see, is it coming off this curb? Because sometimes that's what does it. Yep, there it is. Yep, that curb. You want to use that curb because it gives you so much more room to let the car drift out of the corner. But as you can see there, it's come off that curb wrong, unsettled the car, and yeah, unfortunately, you're not saving it from there.
Yeah, the grass just exacerbated the issue as well. Here's Riley Preston chasing down Cameron Dance for second place on the circuit. Bo Albert has really started to get away from these two. He now leads by 2.3 seconds. So Riley, I think, getting a little impatient here. behind Cameron Dance, who is leader of the championship in the Majors International region. It's a poor exit for Dance, though, over the curb, and Preston, keeping his car nice and stable on the tarmac, slots on ahead just before turn 6, and that is going to be a move nicely completed. Let's see if he can hold on to it down the straight.
Yeah, I got a feeling Cam would probably be sitting there thinking, you know what, Riley, you've got a bit more pace than me. I'll just let you drag me back to the front of the field. So he's a bit of a smart boy, or Cam. We don't like to tell him that, so don't anyone mention to him that I said that on broadcast. So, but yeah, we'll have to wait and see. The interesting thing is going to be is how much pace does Riley have left in that car at the moment. So Bo's just cruising at the moment. He's just enough to keep edging that gap out. That last lap, he was about a 10th faster. Sorry, a couple of tenths faster than the cars behind. So it's going to be interesting to see if Riley can close that gap down. About 2 seconds, so yeah, it's going to be a bit of work to do, but there's definitely enough laps to do it.
Sebastian Flock just making his way past Scott Stevens, who we focus on. It was draft down the back straight and a good exit from turn 7 that got it done for him. Brett Hender, unfortunately, starting to fall backwards. There's Kobe Jones making his way past him. Kobe, of course, still recovering from that earlier incident with Riley Preston down at the chicane. So Mr. Jones back up into 11th place and looking to try and break into the top 10. His next target is going to be Brady Baldwin, but Sebastian Flock continuing to advance. And who knows, one wonders what this race would look like if Seb Flock had made his way into the qualifying session. Reese Harnell, meanwhile, chasing down Adam Gardner. And Gardner trying his best to get back into the top 10 after his incident on lap 1. Reese Harnell up 4 spots from where he started.
Yeah, that gap has been coming down very, very quickly. The lap times Reese is doing at the, Adam's doing at the moment, just not quite enough to keep that gap. So it'll probably catch up fairly quick. Reese doing some pretty decent lap times at the moment, but yeah, it's unfortunate. It qualified up the front really, really well, so it definitely looked like it had the pace to really do something with it. But yeah, early race contact, yeah, not a whole lot you can do. As we go back to look at Cam Dance and Riley Preston, Cam's just sitting in the draft at the moment. The lap times showing at the moment, it looks like Bo is still dragging that gap out at the moment, was about 5/10, yeah, about half a second faster than this group actually. So he is comfortably pulling this gap out right now, but the gap between Riley and Cameron, it doesn't look like that's going to be going anywhere anytime soon.
Bo keeping it cool, calm and collected out front, and Mr. Preston is, I think, struggling to find pace. Oh, that was a bit wide there for Cameron Dance. He almost went straight off the circuit, as there's a problem for Brady Baldwin, it seems, and that's in the S's section. Fortunately, there's a lot of runoff to work with up there at the top of the hill. Let's see what happened to him. He's got Kobe Jones for company behind him on the virtual racing school replay, and Brady just gets a bit too much curb. The car gets unsettled, and oh no, the runoff didn't help him there. That is some side damage for the owner of ODSE.
Doesn't look like it was too big of a hit. There'll definitely be something there. Not sure if he'd be noticeable, but yeah, just late apex, so it must have just come off that curve that little bit wrong, and yeah, around he went. But yeah, good thing not too much and could just keep going, but obviously a few spots will be lost out of that one, and this gap doesn't seem to be moving too much at the moment. So yeah, you see the gap, just another 10th losing out of that one as well. So Bo's got an answer at the moment. You can see Cam is actually slightly starting to drop off the back. He's just keeping it there, but yeah, that gap is starting to form a little bit at the moment. Oh no, we've got another one as well. Sorry, just over the front straight. Reese Harnell is going right around.
Goodness me. Wow, okay. I want to wait and see how that one happened. I've just gone back on my own replay. Looks like he did it on his own, and this is going to be one of the dangers of the last turn. And check out the car control as well to avoid hitting the other cars. He just dips the wheel off into the grass and gets spun. He brings it the other way to try and avoid the car in front. And unfortunately has to spin it around. Just manages to keep it out of the wall, though. Keeps himself in a nice, clean car, which is, I guess, one heck of a silver lining.
Is he a stunt driver? Because yeah, that was well controlled. Also, just noticing too, Riley Preston has been given a drive-through penalty, and it looks like it was from that contact that early from lap 4 with Kobe Jones. So, yep, and he's in the lane at the moment, serving that penalty. So, I was wondering, as waiting to see what was going to happen with that. We hadn't heard anything from race control, and well, there's our answer. So, Riley not going to be. Yeah, not going to be happy with the penalty, but yeah, I think at this stage, can't really argue with it.
Yeah, certainly not. And have a look at that. He has come out just behind Scott Stevens as Shane Best has made his way into the pit lane. I saw Shane going for a bit of a spin out of turn 5 earlier, so that partially explains what's gone wrong there. So now, Riley Preston is going to have to start working his way up here. Gets a fantastic exit as he chases down the 551 and up the inside, up at turn 6. Let's see if Scotty gives him the room. Indeed he does. He's a very clean racer, is Scott Stevens. He knows when to give and when to take. So that is one extra spot there for Riley Preston back up into 9th place. But now that basically, oh no, that's another problem there. One for Adam Moore in the 111 Iridium Sim Sports machine. That's down in the S's. I get the feeling that was another appointment with the turn 3 curb or something along those lines. What I was going to say was Bo Albert is basically unchallenged for the lead at the moment. He now leads by 4.3 seconds over Cameron Dance, but Thomas Hinz has, thanks to that penalty for Riley Preston, made his way up into the podium positions.
Yeah, I was looking at that too. Yeah, and you also got Benjamin Faulkner in there as well, who's also in for a shot at the podium. You can see on screen now the gap's not that big at the moment. So for you guys, it's worked out good for Kobe Jones. He's now back up into 8th spot and not far behind Seb Flock. Again, up 14 spots from his starting spot tonight. So Seb's having a fantastic run on board with Riley Preston at the moment. And he'll actually be just behind this little battle pack too. So this has worked out. We're going to have round 2 of Kobe versus Riley. Hopefully it works out a bit better this time.
Ding, ding, ding. Let's go. Let's see what Riley Preston can do here. If he has enough drive out of turn 7 to get it done on Kobe Jones down the straight, he's definitely going to have the draft here. Going over the hump out of turn 8. That hump used to be an awful lot higher when the circuit was opened. Cars would often go airborne over it. Some good draft there for Riley Preston, but not quite enough to get alongside Kobe Jones, and I think he's learned his lesson from that penalty. Not as aggressive that time round, but a bit of a straighter exit out of 10B. Let's see if it works out for him on the run down the... Oh no, looks like in the wall there, Luke Swan, the other Iridium Sim Sports car. That looks like some fairly heavy contact with the wall.
Yeah, I'm just having a quick look. We'll get the replay up.
Oh,
It's a
not
bit of a
heavy.
tap there. Yeah, actually, it can look deceiving a bit sometimes. We both saw that and thought, oh, that's a big hit. But we'll have a look, and yep, the grass catching at another driver tonight. Everyone seems to be slipping on that grass, and he's just pulled it up. It's a bit of a thonk, but it shouldn't be too much of an issue. But yeah, at that point, as you can see, you can't really go anywhere. You've got cars coming left, right, and center. You just have to wait until you got a clear gap. He's back on the road running now, but obviously going to lose a lot of places out of that one.
Indeed, at least he had a good view of the run down the hill, so he got some advance warning of cars coming. Just saw Brady Baldwin getting into the pits there. It looks like he's actually taking service, some tyres there for him. He also fallen back a fair way. So I'm not too sure what the issue is there for Brady Baldwin. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. Here we go. Meanwhile, at 10A and 10B, Kobe Jones giving Riley Preston a very wide berth on the turn in there, but Preston just not able to get the drive out of the chicane to try and get the move done on Kobe. Remember, these guys would have been racing for second and third had things been a little bit different. Preston again with a good draft down the front straight, just can't draw up alongside in time, and turn 1 isn't exactly an overtaking spot.
No, definitely not. I'm just looking at that car. It seems to be very, very slippery in a straight line. As you sort of keep bringing up, every time he's in the draft, he seems to put range up really, really well. Interesting that when this pass was happening, Seb just sort of rolled out of it down the back straight. He saw both of them coming and maybe thought better of it just to let these guys go for it. So the gap punching out a little bit there through the yeses, but as they head up towards turn 8 and 9, be interesting to see as they go onto the back straight how that draft works out for Riley, because yeah, that thing has just been really, really quick in a straight line. As they head down now, we'll see, are we going to see Riley close in on the back, look for an opportunity? Kobe moving straight to the right hand side of the track, trying to defend, make sure that he has to go the long way around the track. He's closing up, he's pulling out, looks like he's gonna have a look down the inside, looks like he's gonna get there this time, and oh, running it very, very wide, just pulling it up, and that's it, job done. That's how you make the pass. So he'll be on looking forward and getting down the road and trying to chase down Timothy Febin, who is about 4 seconds down the road, I believe. So it's a bit of an effort to try and bridge that gap.
Yeah, especially considering there's 10 laps to go. You'd have to be driving at about, 3/10 or even faster per lap to even try and get to the back of Febin before the final lap. Riley Preston has done some pretty amazing things in the past, though, so wouldn't put it past him to at least have a red-hot go of it. The 042 of Benjamin Faulkner, meanwhile, still chasing down Thomas Hinz here for third place. But it seems that Hinsey has dropped Faulkner ever so slightly, so a bit less of a chance there for the Harvey Bay Auto Glass Race on Oz machine.
Yeah, you'd be trying to stick in that draft as much as you can. Not sure if it's sort of spoke it with a few drivers, and they did mention the draft around this track sort of being a key factor in trying to keep the pack closer together. So obviously, yeah, you've got a lot of sort of like the back straight obviously is a big one, and then you've also got the faster sections as well. If you could just stay in the draft of the car in front of you, which with most cars, if you could sort of be within about 1.2 seconds, you're really going to be in that draft of the car in front. But as soon as you fall out of that gap, that's sort of, yeah, when it's a bit game over. And we're having a look, and there's about 8/10 that gap is at the moment. So he's just holding on and be wanting to sort of stay there, because even with 9 to go, getting towards the end of the race, if there's a chance that he could have a look and try and get on that podium, yeah, he'd be wanting to try and save the car and take the opportunity then.
They're still quite evenly matched, though, Hinz and Faulkner. There was only 0.07 of a second difference between them on the previous lap, so that battle's certainly not over by any stretch. Timothy Febin, meanwhile, we see just disappearing out of frame a couple of moments ago as Riley Preston continues chasing him down. Look at the gap that Preston has started to pull on Kobe Jones already, continuing to on the run down the straight. And you can just see Tim Febin disappearing over the hill in the distance in front of him. So with 9 laps to go, I wouldn't put it past Riley to at least get back on the back bumper of Febin with, say, about 2, maybe 3 laps to go with the pace that he's got at the moment.
Yeah, so we look at those times. That was crazy quick that time around. So it'll be interesting to see what time he puts down when he gets to the line. We're watching Febin to come across the line with a 22.9 and Riley with a 22.2. That's the second time he's done a 22.2. Sebastian Flock just punched in his fastest lap of the race that lap as well, I just noticed too. So the pace in these three is definitely getting up at the moment, but yeah, with 8 to go, I think he might have more than just Riley to contend with. I think the other two of Kobe and Sebastian are going to come with as well.
Indeed. Well, Timothy Febin's going to have to start looking over his shoulder pretty shortly. There is the shot. Those 3 drivers chasing him down. There's Febin making his way into turn 7 in the Mach 1 machine. So keep an eye out for this battle to really start to spice up towards the end. Some fantastic racing we've seen so far in this Racing Sims V8SCOPS Support Flat 6 event. Meanwhile, for the lead, Bo Albert, well, not really much more you can say about him. He's coming up to 7 laps to go, and he's led 16 of those 16 of the 18 laps, sorry. 17 of the 18 laps, goodness me. They're just updating the overlays as I speak. long story short, Bo Albert has led like 90% of this race so far, and by quite a margin as well.
I'm not that good at math, so I'm not going to check you on that one, Reese. I'm going to believe every word you say. But yeah, he's just solid effort at the moment, and just lap times have just been fairly consistent. He's been hanging around that 22.2, 22.3 lap time. So just cruising at the moment. Don't need to do any more. Just find a rhythm and stick with it. So you can see this battle starting to form up again. Now this gap between Febin and Preston, 1.1 seconds. Now it's down to under a second. So it's on now. You can see he's actually dropped Kobe and Seb as well. So wow. Yeah, Riley's pace has just really kicked up another notch here. Speaking of, last lap around, a 21.9, the fastest lap of the race and the only driver to be in the 29. So, yeah, wow, Preston's really picked up the pace in the last half of this race.
Absolutely. This is some great form that we're seeing from Riley, and I think a lot of that comes from the motivation to try and get back up to a good position after his penalty. If only we saw this kind of pace from Riley behind Bo in this stage of the race. And then we would have had an excellent battle for the lead. But we still got another race to go tonight, so hopefully we end up getting that. But now with 5 laps to go as they cross the line, he's well within draft range is Riley Preston, and Timothy Fabian is going to be checking his mirrors here now. Another fastest lap for Riley Preston, a 21.831, taking another 10th out of his previous fastest lap. So he is on an absolute roll right now as the Evolution Racing team driver, almost on the bumper of Fabian as they come down through the S's. The sun falling behind some clouds on the racetrack. It's going to cool things down a little bit, get a little bit of extra grip in the tyres. He's having a look to the inside in turn 6, but he's not going to be quite close enough to make it work. And it looks like this is going to be a move down at 10A and 10B.
Yeah, he's going to be sizing it up for the back stretch. So coming off the corner really well. You can see Fabian grabbing the grass a little bit too. Look at the draft making a massive effect. Riley's going to pull out. I think this is academic at this point. You can see side by side, Riley pulls out in front, and Timothy is just going to drop in behind as they head into the braking zone. So up into, that'll be P5, so back into the top 5. Good recovery there from obviously what happened earlier in the race, and that's it. In these situations, it's all about damage control, and Riley has done a fantastic job in minimizing the damage here. Won't catch up to the group in front. There's just nowhere near enough laps for that one to happen, but yeah, solid effort to recover back into the top 5.
Absolutely, in full agreement with you there. So let's see just how much Riley Preston can close up the gap to Benjamin Faulkner here. Faulkner, of course, up 2 positions from where he started, was in 6th, and just ebbing and flowing the gap there between himself and Thomas Hinz. Hinsey is still just extending the gap slightly on average, lap on lap, but Mr. Faulkner is just losing ever so slight bits of time on this lap. He's staying within the draft range of Hinsey, only just. If he ends up falling outside that 1.2 second range, as you mentioned before, Simon, then that's going to be that battle over. But it's been a good, clean race from Thomas Hinz here. He's kept himself very nicely presented out on track, and very strong running in the podium places. He's just got to keep it mistake-free now for another 3 laps.
Yeah, another battle that I'm interested to see how it would go. The battle between the teammates, Scott Stevens and Brett Hender, still close together on track as well. We're also seeing Luke Swan actually showing up in the background too, so interesting with the last 4 laps to go what might happen there. You can see on screen now the concentration from Thomas Hinz, trying to make sure he's nailing every line. That corner especially, it's a very blind rise over the top, and then you've got to absolutely nail the curbs, as we've seen tonight from a few drivers where they just use the curb a little bit wrong and it just unsettles it, and unfortunately find themselves off the track. So absolute 100% determination there, and you can see Benjamin just still hanging on at the back there. He's not letting this battle go just yet. Just in the draft range as they head on to the back stretch. So, yeah, with a few more laps to go, we can see Cam actually just up the road a little bit as well. Actually, he's been dropping back a little bit in lap times the last few laps too. So, I'm not sure if there's a little bit of pace drop off there for Cam, or he's just sort of managing that gap at the moment.
Yeah, I get the feeling he might just be managing it right now. He knows that there's not much pressure from behind. He just needs to keep it on the track, and he will have secured second place easily. Car number 10, Brett Hender, with his teammate Scott Stevens just up ahead. Sebastian Flock has absolutely left these guys behind. He's just in the chicane now. And Luke Swan behind them, starting to creep up into draft range. The two Fusion Sim Racing teammates together coming into the chicane, but there is Luke Swan. This is going to get pretty spicy in the last couple of laps if he can catch up to these guys. He just needs an inkling of a draft down the straight, and he is going to be right there.
Yeah, definitely. Looking at lap times, Luke's definitely going to be in for this battle, but catching is one thing, passing is something else. So obviously, yeah, Brett and Scott, very, very seasoned drivers. They know what they're doing, and the battle between the teammates is definitely heating up. As you can see him going up the hill, very nose to tail, old versus new in the paint job stakes. But yeah, we'll see who's going to come out on top with these two. Yeah, not much more you can say about that point, can you?
Yeah, of course, but all we can do is watch for the time being. Hender using a bit less of the curb than Stevens on that occasion, and he got a slightly better exit as a result with Scotty. Febin and Jones, meanwhile. Riley Preston's already gotten past Timothy Febin, but now Kobe right on the back of him, and with 2 laps to go at the line. This looks to be either a pass on the penultimate or the last lap for Kobe Jones, trying to get himself back into the top 6. And have a look at that run he got through the chicane that time. Made up an awful lot of time on Timothy Febin, using a bit more of the curb in the last turn as well. In the draft, down into turn 1. Bit more aggressive on the brakes, a little bit of a slide in the rear from Kobe Jones, just missing the apex of turn 1, so pushing a little bit too hard on that occasion, but he can rein it in and go for a proper run down the back straight. It's a nice clean run through the S's for both of these drivers. Kobe just keeping it nice and clean over the curbs. Fairbairn turning a little bit later for turn 5, and have a look at the curb usage there from Kobe Jones. Just manages to keep the car straight over the bumps, and oh no, Febin running wide in turn 6. That's a little unfortunate. It's given a whisker of a hope there to Kobe Jones and a brief look up the inside, but no room for a pass down there for the time being. But the draft is on. Let's see what Kobe Jones can do coming through turn 8 and then through the ever so gentle sweeper of turn 9. Febin sticking into the middle of the road. He's going to leave Jones a bit of room there on the outside. Keep it middle of the road. Will he fight it into the braking zone? Yes, he will. Kobe, though, round the outside of 10A, sticks it up the inside for 10B, and just about gets it done, but Febin's going to push him all the way into the final turn. And it looks like that's going to be all she wrote for that one. Kobe getting it done through the final turn and just staying ahead.
Fantastic bit of driving from both of those. Timothy, wasn't really going to fight it too hard, but he thought, well, you know what? If you want to get the pass done, you're just going to have to make it done, get it done that way. So beautiful work there. You can see Bo Albert on the last lap as he heads through the heading up onto the back straight. Started first, currently first. You can't really say any more than that. It's just been a solid drive. Had to fight to get back the lead. Obviously, Riley with a fantastic start in the opening lap or two, but ever since then, yeah, it's just been a solid drive. 8.6 second gap all the way to Cameron Dance. So, just been doing a fantastic job. So, with a few more corners to go, Bo is going to pick up his first win.
He is indeed. He's led every lap, bar one, has Bo Albert, keeping it nice and clean through the last couple of turns, and the celebrations shall begin here for Albert. There we go. Very happy with that performance is Bo Albert, and now he can take an opportunity to rest as, wow, Cameron Dance. Looks like there might have been a bit of an issue there on the final lap. No, there was actually a bit of lap traffic there as he takes second. Thomas Hinz crosses the line to finish third. fourth is going to be Benjamin Faulkner. Riley Preston fifth, but it is on here between Scott Stevens and Luke Swan. Swan made his way past Hender on the previous lap and now making his way past Scott Stevens to take ninth place. That shuffles Brett Hender out of the top 10. Scott Stevens going to come home for a top 10 finish, but a great drive there from Luke Swan to make himself back up to the position where he started. And it's a very, very hard fought place there for Luke Swan.
Yeah, that's a solid effort. We knew it was coming, but yeah, to get the last 2 laps, yep, solid job to get himself into the top 10.
Indeed, and here are the results as they stand. That is the top 10. Albert, Dance and Hins, your podium, with Benjamin Faulkner coming home just under a second behind there. Riley Preston and Kobe Jones completing the top 6. They could have been on the podium, though, were it not for that incident between them. Timothy Fabian in 7th, and then it's Flock, Swan and Stevens rounding out the 10.
And we'll move to P11. Brett Hender in that last lap battle there. Adam Gardner back in 12th. Jaden Mollenhauer in 13th. Isaac Edwards coming up a few spots into 14th. Brett O'Keefe in 15th. Reese Harnell coming home in 16th spot. Adam Moore in 17th. Mark Noble 18th. Brady Baldwin, this looks like where we're finding our DNFs. And Shane Best as well. 20th, but a DNF as well.
Yeah, big shame for those guys. Nathan Tregarthen disconnecting from the server after starting from the pits, and then Ben Christensen and Henry King, our race control. Max Lumsden ultimately did not take the start for that one. Hopefully we see him make an appearance tonight, but that rounds out the first race of the Flat Sixes for tonight in the RacingSims.co.nz V8SCOPS support series. We'll be bringing you the Legends race very soon. A 10-minute race around Road Atlanta's short layout coming up, and you're going to be seeing me on the grid. Let's see how much I embarrass myself in that one. But Simon will be joined by Jay Kennedy to take you through that one. You're watching SimSpeed TV. We'll be back in just a moment.
Yeah, so we're using the VRS Direct Force Pro this year. We have a wheel adapter right here, so I'm using the rim I used last year. But the motor right here produces a lot of power, a lot of precision, and it helps me, just feel the car more, feel the car a lot quicker. Especially, this week we're at Sonoma. I can feel it, when it hits the curbs. Any little change in the car, the wheel reacts a lot quicker than your typical gear-driven or belt-driven wheel. For example, if you're on oval and the rear tires break loose, force feedback on it corrects a lot quicker than your typical wheels. There's no resistance pretty much as far as being able to make quick corrections on the wheel. So all that, paired with how precise the wheel itself is, it makes it to where it helps you as a driver, to find that extra hundredth or thousandths of a second. So when you're getting a, direct drive wheel, especially the VRS wheel, it's heavy duty. It's got good weight to it, it's not a plastic toy. It feels like you can really beat up on it. A lot of people have issues with their plastic gear-driven wheels just kind of breaking after a couple years. This thing just feels like it can go forever. The forces are really strong where if you might have to let go of the wheel if you get into the wall. You can adjust all that with the settings on it and stuff, but the wheel itself doesn't play around. It's got way more strength than you could ever need, and that's what makes it good, that you can adjust that down to whatever the car needs. So initially you'll be able to get the controller box and the motor together, and eventually you will be able to add a rim onto that option. They'll also be including a button plate on it to put on the rim to have all sorts of different buttons and functionality. Also, pedals are coming, so that's a pretty big deal as well. Hasn't been covered too much, but the goal is to also have pedals to go along with the Direct Force Pro. So that's pretty exciting. The wheel feels good. It feels very much like a real world steering wheel. You just kind of feel like what you would imagine the car to feel like. A real steering wheel in a car is very smooth, it's very direct, very quick, and that's what this wheel feels like.
This is fantastic. This is
GT racing right now.
He's got traction, he's got everything outside of both of them! Maloney!
Oh, he's taken Anderson! Anderson's up to
Oh my God! Big crash! Oh my goodness, half the field's gonna get rolled.
Six very close. These guys are want to make their way through the field very quickly. Oh, there we go. Oh no, that's massive. This is it. This is over. I can't believe this. Oh my God.
God, what?
Welcome back to SimSpeed TV. Helps if I unmute my mic, shows how much of an amateur I am. As we welcome you back to V8SCOPS support series presented by RacingSims.co.nz. You did hear us right. We are back for the second of our support races, the Legends. We're cutting the track a little short and running them around the shortened layout of this Road Atlanta circuit. My name is Jay Kennedy, jumping in while Reese Gardner has a little bit of a steer. And Simon Mazzomo still alongside me. Mez, this is going to be very, very fun. We've seen some great racing throughout the series in these cars, but this track just screams that it's perfect for these things. It's going to be very, very fun.
Absolutely, tiny little things, very reminiscent of the little what are they? The not
Aussie racing cars.
That's the one, Aussie racing cars. I mean, I didn't half work for them, so I should remember it. But yeah, no, it was lots of fun. Very fast flowing track, so expected just to be enormous fun. You can see Daniel Stevens back again for these support races. He loves jumping in these things. We obviously saw him last week. I believe it was his first race in the support series with the V8. Fortunate enough to have a very good battle with him actually in the end of that first one, so good to see him back in it, giving these cars a go. And yeah, currently top of the timesheets, not so much of a surprise, so yeah, it'd be good to see how he goes tonight in these things.
100%. He did race in these at Oran Park as well, so he has been a little bit of a regular in the support series, so it's been great to see him out there. Of course, as you said, he ran in the V8s as a substitute driver last round. But after this round, racing in just the support category, the secondary support category. Of course, the Legends will be a 10-minute race coming up very, very soon. Qualifying not far off starting, which means that we've got plenty of time to talk about the cars, the track, and the drivers. But firstly, the cars, as you said, very, very similar to Aussie racing cars. A little bit different, but same concept, motorcycle engine, and absolutely high-powered go-kart style vehicles.
Very much, yeah. Gotta love the go-kart styles. The best way to do racing, really, is when you go back to it, like being obviously a karter myself back in the day. Don't think there's any purer form of racing, so yeah, and tracks like these, as you sort of mentioned with the track, you know, very, very fast and flowing. Even though we're using the shortcut layout, you can see they're coming out of that section now. It's just a really, really fast right-hand bend. So there's not a real technical aspect as they're coming into now. What would be 10A, 10B is probably the most technical part of the track. But even then, as you can see with sort of how small these cars are, the track's fairly wide for them. So, you know, yeah, it's going to be carrying a lot of pace for their size. They'll carry a lot of pace through those corners. And even though we're in practice at the moment, there's a little pack starting to form up here. So we're getting a little bit of a preview of what it's going to be like when the racing starts.
100%. They will be using this as a glorified race run, because they don't get a lot of practice time. As per real life support categories, they the lower down the tier, the category, the less time they get out on track, and trying to simulate that here in this series. 10-minute practice, 10-minute qualifying, 10-minute race. That's all the guys get. But the action that we see in all of the support categories, whether it be the V8s or the flat sixes or the trucks or the Legends, have been absolutely brilliant throughout the series so far.
I guess that's kind of the one aspect when you think of it. If you don't have a lot of practice, and we sort of see this a lot with real life motorsport as well, they try and reduce the practice times to sort of introduce a little bit of variables because if you have less time on the track, you have less time to test, less time to fine tune things, less time to get used to the track. So, it's really down to who can adjust the quickest and who can get themselves dialed in the quickest as well. So, it's what we're sort of seeing a lot, very, very close there between those two. Would have been Reece Gardner that was involved in that one. But so this very, very short, 30 seconds left in the clock. So hopefully they've got it figured out. They've got a rough idea of what they're doing out there because once they get into qualifying, that's it. You've got to put it on the track and show what you can do.
I think it's 7 cars at this stage. Hopefully we'll get a couple more who'll join at the last moment because we always seem to have that. Brett Loxton, the only driver at the moment yet to post a lap in the practice session, and he won't get one in either. So practice is done. Qualifying about to get underway. Standard V8 SCOPS rule applies, so no escape rule in effect. Realistic qualifying conditions. And I think you're saying before about technical aspects of the track. Sure, that the 10A, 10B, very, very technical, but finding your apex at turn 3, I think is going to be a lot more difficult than you may be giving the guys credit for because they're so low down in the car. Seeing up over the rise at turn 3, or up through the rise at turn 2, as you just see Daniel Stevens just coming up the hill here. This section here, where do you turn right and actually hit the apex? Because you can't see with how low you are.
Yeah, fair point. That one's probably going to be difficult, but most of the time it's really, really tricky, and especially like obviously the Porsches are also running here this weekend. It's difficult because of how much pace you carry over the top of that hill. You've sort of got to line it up before you come over the crest. With these things, little tiny motors, they probably don't go that fast. You've probably got a little bit more time to sort of eyeball where the apex is as you come over that rise. But yeah, fair point. It's still quite technical. Because you'll notice a lot of guys, if we had a look on board, when they go through that corner, they're going to be, oh, that's a bit too far wide there, Daniel. That's going to stuff the start of that lap. So he's going to roll out of it and try and reset for another run. You're going to see another car behind starting as well. So he's going to give the draft to someone else. Nick Skraev starting his lap at the moment. Another SimSpeed commentator jumping in there tonight. And Nick's been a big fan of jumping in with the 10-minute support races this season.
He's been enjoying the support series throughout. He's been enjoying a lot of racing over the past few months. One point, didn't have a wheel, didn't have a pedal set. And that's when he jumped in the comms box. He's like, oh, I might as well keep doing something to make my iRacing sub mean something. And then decided, no, I need to go out and buy a new wheel and new pedal set and pick one up for fairly cheap from someone. And away he goes back into racing again. So did make a mistake there, ran off the track at the exit of turn 4. So he's ended his run. Corey Kitchen just getting past. Great to have Corey back a part of the series as well. And Daniel Stevens will end up being the first lap time we see, even with that mistake on his outlap.
Yeah, it'll be an interesting time because he definitely had a bit of a draft all the way as well. So it'd be good to see what lap time he gets coming to the line. See what lap time. It's a 7.8, so currently up the top. Corey Kitchen coming in with an 8.2. Reece Harnell with a 7.99. Looking at Reece Gardner, we'll see what Reece is doing. Obviously, very, very quick in anything Reece drives, but this one, he's a very big fan of these things. Getting to the line at a 7.6. That should go straight to the top of the times, or was that an outlap? I think that was an outlap.
No, it didn't count. Off track. So he's had an off-track penalty. So it would have been fast enough for P1, but he had an off-track penalty and it did not count. So making sure you keep it between the lines. Not as easy as you would think because it is such a short lap. You're trying to find every single millimetre that you can, and sometimes you do push that limit a little bit too hard. Aaron Gilbert, geez, that was a big slide coming through turn 5. And then they rejoin at turn 9. Such a long, flat-out section, that section there, isn't it? You're just on the loud pedal for so long. As Reece Gardner's just gone purple again on this lap. But Daniel Stevens just done a 7.3. So he's put in a very, very quick time. And Corey Kitchen, very, very quick as well. Let's see what Reece Gardner does on this lap.
Yeah, very keen to see what he does coming out of the final corner. Ooh, looking very close. The time's looking close as they get to the line. 7:3:06. Is that going to count?
Nope.
That didn't count either.
Didn't count, so he's getting an off track somewhere.
The only one I could think of, there's one easy spot, and I was going to allude to it earlier. The corner that we were mentioning, the turn 3, you want to use as much of that curb as possible, but there is a point where if you go that little bit too far, you do get an off track. So just looking at his lap, that's the only spot, because everywhere else he looks fine. He's nailing every part of that lap. So I can only think that maybe it's just that corner using just a little bit too much curb, and that's what's causing the issues. But Nick Skrajev coming out of the final corner on a hot lap. We'll see, can he improve at all on this lap time? Don't think so. Coming to the line, definitely not going to be an improvement. An 8.9, so probably be a reset and go again for Nick.
So Freese gets a lap in, this time purpled the first sector, so fastest we've seen through the turns 1 and 2 section of track, and that, if it counts, it does, is the fastest lap we've seen so far. So a nice lap from Reece Gardner, P1. Aaron Gilbert finally gets a lap in as well, so he sits in 6th position. The only driver out on track yet to post a lap time is Nick Skrajev in the 44. I tell you what, Nick is probably one of the easiest cars to find in any series he races, whether it's Club Day Masters, V8SCOPS support. Just find the brightest yellow car you can see, and that will be him.
Well, you always gotta shine. Show you. Yeah, no, I'm gonna leave that one alone. I was going somewhere with that one, but I can't quite finish off where it was going. So
I don't know where you were going.
Yeah, I think we'll move on from that one. And yeah, we'll see. Finishing this lap, hadn't realised that. Yeah, he's still yet to set a time at the moment. So interesting. We'll see this time around. Will this one count? Getting to the line. Nope. Again, it was actually slower again, and yeah, once again won't count. So yeah, maybe there's a bit of sandbagging going on there. Doesn't want to show anyone his true pace.
Probably more that he's getting an off track somewhere than sandbagging. One thing I've noticed in this series, we don't see it in others, is that drivers don't reset. They don't go into the pits. They don't chuck another set of tyres on it. They don't go back with the fuel. They just keep going and keep punching in lap after lap after lap, trying to run the fuel down as much as they can and trying to get some heat into these road tyres.
Yep. And that'd be because this is a fixed setup, I'm pretty sure. Yep, there we go. So, as you're alluding to, you want to get the fuel down. You want to get as much fuel out of it. You can see it coming into the pit lane, because I would imagine Daniel is going to throw some tyres at this thing and see what he can do. With that one, you can see Reece on screen as well. A few cars coming to the line. Maybe Brett Loxton as well, coming into P3 there, yes, with a 107.4. So the gap up front is very, very close. You've got Reece, Daniel, Brett and Corey separated by about less than 2/10 of a second. So that's going to be a very entertaining battle in the race, running very wide. I think that is going to be an off track. I don't think there'll be a lap time there to be found. So have to reset and go again for the next one.
Yeah, I think also a little bit off in that first sector anyway, so he's definitely got out of the throttle and he's going to have another crack at it. Not long left in the sessions. Daniel Stevens, as you said, is coming back out now. He'll have one lap at it. He might get 2 runs at it, depending on when he crosses the line. And Reece Gardner also, he's continuing on, he's just pushing on, but that's a little off the circuit. He's held on. I thought he was putting that in the fence.
Keep your foot in. That's one way to do it. So the one question I keep asking myself is with these cars is we talk about it a bit. What force feedback is Daniel running for these ones? Because he likes to run them a bit high, as we can see. I wonder if he's done the same thing this time around, keeping that force feedback nice and high. We'll have a look at the hand. Yeah, it's high.
It's
high. He's working that one.
It'll be interesting to see if it's that high tomorrow, running in the Indy 500 for the Major Series here on SimSpeed TV. We'll have shed cam on for. You know what I am noticing Where's his headset that he normally has around his shoulders or around his neck?
Oh, oh no! Oh, is it no?
No, he hasn't got it.
Headset's not there. No, no comms tonight. That's right. Because he wears them around his neck when he needs the microphone. Because it doesn't actually use them for in-game, just uses them for the microphone. So obviously, flying solo tonight doesn't need the microphone.
How cool is that too? You just saw his left hand leave the steering wheel, down on the sequential shifter beside him. First sector time, not looking too great. Oh, there we go. He's listening. He can hear us. Very good.
Meant to be concentrating on driving, Daniel, not listening to us talk nonsense.
How good's that they see him use that sequential shifter? Love seeing that. It's a little bit of immersion. That was a bit sideways there. Reece Gardner's done. He's not going to do any more laps. Reece Harnell's just coming out of the pits. He may not get to the start-finish line in time to get another lap in. Brett Loxton is on a lap. And Gilbert and Scraev also on laps as well. So, not long left. We've got one lap left for these drivers. Checkered flag is now out. Let's see what happens in this last minute. Harnell has not crossed the line in time, though.
Yeah, I think there's only a few left. I think it'd be Brett and Daniel and Gilbert will be the last ones. Nick Scraev as well will be on a lap time as well. So, but doesn't look like that lap time's going to count too much. But we're looking at Brett coming towards. Is it still 10A and 10B? We'll still call it 10A and 10B. It's probably less than that, but we'll stick with that. And no, straight into the lane. So we'll stay in third spot. Nick will also come to the lane as well. Anyone else still on a lap? Daniel coming out of the last corner onto the front straight. Can he sneak pole away from Reece Gardner? Nope. A few tenths down. That's it. That's that's it. Qualifying will be done.
Yep, session is done for everyone. Now, as the only drivers out on track are Gilbert and Stevens. Gilbert's lap, though, will not count. So, results from qualifying as follows. I'm going to actually click the right button. Amateur hour here on SimSpeed. Reece Gardner on pole. Don't worry, we'll have him back in the booth after this race, though. Daniel Stevens will start alongside him in P2. Brett Loxton third. Corey Kitchen in fourth position. Reece Harnell fifth. Aaron Gilbert sixth. And Nick Scraev will be the last runner in the Trucking Legends for tonight. As we said, a 10-minute race, so not long for these drivers to get around this circuit. Around about an 8 or so lap race. It's a very, very tough ask for some of these guys with this race length. With such a small field, a mistake is absolutely amplified in this one.
Yeah. That's the thing with the, as you say, with the small fields. We saw it a little bit in that last one with the Porsche race. When you make a mistake, trying to get your way back to those top spots is incredibly difficult to do. And with a small field like this, as soon as you fall off the pack, then very difficult to try and salvage a result. But I'd say that these drivers are going to be very level-headed, and we'll be looking forward to a fantastic race out of these guys. The lead's definitely going to be tightly contested. I think we've got at least the top 5 that are definitely going to be fighting for the win in this race as well. So interesting to see how we go.
Just waiting for one car to take to the grid before we get this race underway. One thing to note, our racing in this series for the support series has a time of day evolution. So practice for the Porsche Cup drivers, as it's caught me off guard with a green flag, was at 3 p.m. We are now at 6 p.m. And the next race will start just before sunset. So the Porsche Cup will go right into the night as Daniel Stevens trying to go around the outside. Not quite able to get through there was Brett Loxton. Reece Gardner with a really good launch, but everyone away cleanly. That is the most important thing to see.
Yep, clean starts. You can see 4 cars, 4 wide. You can see side by side Gilbert going up the inside of Harnell. He's going to get the job done. Nope, definitely not. They're still going to be side by side, giving each other plenty of room as they head along the long sweeping. He's caught too much curb. He's got to hang on to it. Very nicely done. That looked like that was going all the way around. But we go up front, we can see the battle between Daniel Stevens, Brett Loxton. Brett having a look, pulls out of the draft, thinking about a look as they head into the final, into 10A. Not going to happen. Not quite close enough to have a go yet in the top 3 at the moment. Already starting to stretch their legs. Reese out in front. Daniel very closely in tow. So 1 lap down, and we're looking at another 9 laps to go in this one.
Yep. Still a lot of racing left, but this is going to be heated here. And you saw the launch that Gardner got. He managed to break a little bit of a gap, but it doesn't take much with these cars it doesn't take much to get a draft in these cars. As long as you're within some sort of range of almost visible contact with the car ahead, you're going to have draft. And even with the way that this corner here is, that car behind of Stevens and Loxton, they're going to close that gap up just because of the nature of this vehicle providing so much draft. By the time we get to the braking zone, they're going to be nose to tail again. This is going to be heated. This is going to be cool to watch. And we're going to see this for the remainder of this 10-minute race. I don't think we're going to see move early. We're going to see moves start to play out probably with about 4 or 3 minutes to go. Drivers will start to work out where they can get this done. But for now, they're going to work together, break the gap behind, so that they know it's just the 3 of them at the front.
Yeah, a little bit of NASCAR tactics going in there. Obviously, yep, not battling too hard. Save the battling for the run to the line. So you can see that there, just nose to tail, not really moving anywhere. You can see Brett Loxton was actually the fastest of the 3 that time round. Corey Kitchen's pace as well was very good, but the battle for the lead, well,
Whoa.
Thought we were going to stay together, but it's definitely on. The pack is starting to battle now. Brett Loxton going up the inside of Daniel Stevens, squeezing him tight. Oh, no contact!
No. Good recovery from Stevens to continue on, but Brett Loxton into Daniel Stevens, and that will give race control a little bit of a headache to try and work out what happened there, because Daniel Stevens won't be happy. He's dropping back through the field. May have a slowdown penalty as well as damage. We'll get a replay in a second, but he's dropped all the way back to 5th, and he could lose another spot to Nick Strayev here.
Nick having a little bit of a look up the inside, not quite going to get there, so he'll slide in behind. He's only lost a few spots out of that one. He's going to drop back to 5th place, so should be able to get, judging by the pace we showed in the first few laps, should be able to get himself back up into the top 3, but yeah, disappointing getting the replay on screen at the moment. We'll have a look at what's going on. As you can see, here we go, start of the lap. So yeah, we knew they were very, very close at the start here. Now, I don't know if he actually, Daniel got close enough to sort of have a bit of a look. Didn't think so at this point. They're just sort of nose to tail. Interesting to see. Was there a bit of a mistake? There's actually a bit of a check-up from Reese actually. Which is, yeah. And then let's check them up. And a bit wide. Unfortunately, yeah, just ran it very, very wide. Here we go. Here's where the contact happens. Hard to see at that angle. Oh, yeah. Can't quite see that well enough. We'll have another quick look back. We'll see if we can get another camera angle that shows it. But was there a bit of a drift across? Oh.
Have fun, race control. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. I think.
I'll sit here.
Well, yeah.
I'll get splinters by sitting on the fence with that one, and I don't mind at all. Daniel Stevens still in 5th. He and Aaron Gilbert side by side into turn 1, and Corey Kitchen's checked out a little bit, but Stevens through into 4th now, and Reese Harnell, on his recovery after that little mistake earlier on, he's trying to get himself back forward again, but not quite able to get past Nick Strayev. Strayev doing a very, very good job currently in 6th, but not able to progress too far forward. And RC has just told us that they're not having fun with that decision. So have more fun with that. So yeah, we'll just add some pressure on them now. They're saying that as well.
We want a decision now. We don't want to wait any longer.
Yeah, I think the race might be too short to try and make a decision while the race is going. I think it's going to have to be a post-race if anything comes of it. But it's one of those situations where it could really go either way, and you can agree with whatever decision race control has, whether it's a penalty, a racing incident, or anything in between. Every option is something you could say, yeah, that makes sense, because it's such a hard decision for race control to make.
And they're the tough ones. They're always going to be the
100%.
tough ones for race control. It's the 50-50. You're sort of thinking, yeah, no, either way. But either way, we were talking up the top 3 battle. This battle here we're having at the moment between Gilbert, Skreyev and Harnell. You see Daniel starting to try and make his way all over the back of Corey Kitchen at the moment. Looks like that pass might be coming up very soon, but the battle behind with those 3 alongside at the moment. So Daniel getting a very, very good run coming out of that sequence of corners. He's just got his nose in front at the moment, because they come down into the braking zone at 10A. He's going to have to try and squeeze out front and around the outside. What a fantastic move, and looks like Harnell's also going to get the job done as well. So passes happening everywhere, and it's not over. You've got Aaron Gilbert having a look as well. So this battle pack just keeps changing every corner. So now we've got another spot up for grabs.
I've just seen the look on Ben Christensen's face as he's watching the replay in slow motion, back and forward, and he does not know what to think. He's very, very confused. Oh no! Gilbert just came across there on Corey Kitchen and ends up in the wall, and Reese Harnell also had to check up for that one too, so he's lost the back of that group. But that was just a little messy incident there. Gilbert probably wasn't quite clear enough to come across. At first glance, anyway.
I'll have a look on replay, going back and having a quick look myself just to sort of be sure what we're about to see. You can see him coming over the hill, and yeah, I think that
Kitchen was taking the normal line, I think, anyway.
Yeah, it was trying to come across and take the normal line, but yeah, when there's a car on the inside, it's a bit tricky. We'll get another look here as well.
His left-hand tyres were on the line. I don't think he could have done much more.
Nah, yeah, I think you're right in that one. I think, yeah, unfortunately, you want to try and squeeze the guy on the outside so you can try and give yourself the best run through the corner, because obviously taking a narrow line, you're going to be disadvantaged. But yeah, when there's a car there, not much you can do. And you can see the car number 44, Skreyev, up another spot as well. So Nick was hanging around 7th, 6th spot. Now he's just found himself up into P4. So that's a fantastic job at the moment. It'll be, can only imagine how excited he's going to be. He's actually sitting in the comm box below us at the moment. So he'd be a little bit happy at the moment.
Be pretty excited and happy with his effort at the moment. I must say as well, Reese Gardner's pace on that last lap was a little slower than he would be happy with. A 108.1 versus Brett Loxton's 107.6. So Loxton half a second quicker on the last lap, and he's definitely quicker on this lap as well. So Gardner crosses the line at 107.9, 107.8 for Brett Loxton, but he's within a second now. This will be the last lap of the race. Will he be able to make a last-second dive at 10A, 10B? Reese Gardner may have done enough to hold on for the win, but Loxton is just there close enough that he can capitalise on the slightest mistake from Reese Gardner.
It's going to be a Ricardo-esque stamp looking on this one to get that one pulled off, but yeah, just looking at the sectors at the moment, it's very, very close. Loxton definitely is catching ever so slowly, but this lap it's a very, very short lap now. We're not doing the full race length. I just don't think he's going to be close enough. So looking at the gap now, it's 0.9. Yeah, I don't think you can send it from that far back. I think Reese is going to have this one comfortably covered.
Yep, Reese Gardner will come out of the final corner, confirming that it is the last lap of the race. I was a bit worried there. The checkered flag didn't actually show, but Reese Gardner will hold on and pick up the win. The 5th round of Trucking Legends over Brett Loxton. Daniel Stevens, I mean, he's going to be disappointed with a third, but what a recovery drive to get third. Damage limitation. When you're the championship leader, damage limitation is as important as victories. Getting the most points you can on a bad race is just as big as getting big points. So you'll hold on to that championship lead, but could have ended up a whole lot worse for Stevens. Results coming up on screen with Gardner, Loxton, Stevens, Skrayev, Kitchen, Harnell, and Gilbert, your field. We're going to have a very, very quick break. When we come back, I'll be out of the booth. Reese Gardner will jump back in, and we'll have race 2 of the Porsches here at Road Atlanta.
Yeah, so we're using the VRS Direct Force Pro this year. We have a wheel adapter right here, so I'm using the rim I used last year. But the motor right here produces a lot of power, a lot of precision, and it helps me, just feel the car more, feel the car a lot quicker. Especially, this week we're at Sonoma. I can feel it, when it hits the curbs. Any little change in the car, the wheel reacts a lot quicker than your typical gear-driven or belt-driven wheel. For example, if you're on oval and the rear tires break loose, force feedback on it corrects a lot quicker than your typical wheels. There's no resistance pretty much as far as being able to make quick corrections on the wheel. So all that, paired with how precise the wheel itself is, it makes it to where it helps you as a driver, to find that extra hundredth or thousandths of a second. So when you're getting a direct drive wheel, especially the VRS wheel, it's heavy duty. It's got good weight to it, it's not a plastic toy. Feels like you can really beat up on it. A lot of people have issues with their plastic gear-driven wheels just kind of breaking after a couple years. This thing just feels like it can go forever. The forces are really strong where if you might have to let go of the wheel if you get into the wall. You can adjust all that with the settings on it and stuff, but the wheel itself doesn't play around. It's got way more strength than you could ever need, and that's what makes it good, that you can adjust that down to whatever the car needs. So initially you'll be able to get the controller box and the motor together, and eventually you will be able to add a rim onto that option. They'll also be including a button plate on it to put on the rim to have all sorts of different buttons and functionality. Also, pedals are coming, so that's a pretty big deal as well. Hasn't been covered too much, but the goal is to also have pedals to go along with the Direct Force Pro. So that's pretty exciting. The wheel feels good. It feels very much like a real world steering wheel. You just kind of feel like what you would imagine the car to feel like. A real steering wheel in a car is very smooth, it's very direct, very quick, and that's what this wheel feels like.
Fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction, he's over the outside, both of them! Maloney!
Oh, he's taken Anderson. Anderson's up to
Oh my god! Oh, big crash! Oh my goodness, half the field's gonna get rolled!
SIX very close. These guys I want to make their way through the field very quickly. Oh, there we go. Oh no! That's massive! This is it! This is over! I can't believe this! Oh my god!
God, what?
And we return to the Racing Sims Flat Sixes for the V8SCOPS Support Series. We just saw that Legends race, and well, I guess I'm not going to toot my own horn too much about that one. I guess Simon, I said that I might embarrass myself in that one, so maybe it was a bit of reverse psychology going on.
Oh, so modest, so modest. No, fantastic job, Reese. You did a fantastic job in that one. Kept it clean, led from start to finish. So should be very, very proud of that one. But I guess we get excited for race 2 tonight of the Porsches, or the flat sixes. So yeah, let's get into it.
Yeah, let's get into it indeed. The sun is setting at Road Atlanta, and everyone's out there at the moment in the warm-up session. We've got another 25-lap race coming up, 100 kilometers in length. Now the question will be, can Bo Albert hold on to make it 2 from 2 tonight? Because he put on a fantastically dominant performance in last race, and, well, Riley Preston and Kobe Jones just didn't factor into it after their incident.
No, unfortunately. Yeah, a good battle sort of taken from us once again, unfortunately. But the good thing about that is what we saw in that last race is they were managed to recover really, really well through the rest of it. So guess what? They're going to be back together again at the start of this one. So I think we'll be keen to see how it goes. Obviously, the track is significantly cooler, as Jay led to earlier. Race is starting right on sunset, which means the cars are going to be sort of right in the cool spot, which means the grip levels are going to be a lot higher. They're going to be able to throw them around a lot more. They're going to be a lot more aggressive. So we may see them, especially this one, be a bit more not afraid to get into it a bit harder. We may see a bit more aggressive racing at the front of the field.
We'll have to wait and see on that one, but I'd certainly agree with you. Oh man, I wish we had the zoom feed on Kobe Jones for that one, because that was quite hairy coming out of turn 5. Certainly going to be some very hard racing in this one. The drivers will be able to push a little bit harder. In terms of the practice timesheets, well, Bo Albert and Riley Preston are very well matched at the moment. Bit of a camera angle change for Bo on the Zoom feed. Not just that, it's a wardrobe change, because we've got that Altus Esports shirt on as well. So properly repping the team here is Bo Albert as he chases down Riley Preston on a practice lap. Maybe a bit of a practice run for what we might see in the race, but in terms of the grid, it's going to be basically the same as the finishing order from race 1. Albert's probably going to start on pole there with Dance on the front row, with Hinz and Faulkner on row 2. Preston and Jones starting 5th and 6th. And we saw the fantastic start that Riley Preston got in the previous race. I'm wondering if he'll repeat that.
Definitely hope so. He starts to be fantastic in this series. We can see the Bo looking down the inside. This is practice session, guys. Like, come on, look at the switchback going on here. Tell you what, did someone tell them that this was racing? Because they're definitely acting like it is at the moment. So, look, he's going to come back again. So, wow, they're getting in early. Come on, you got 25 laps to come. Save a little bit for later.
Yeah, it's like they're in the final round and battling for the championship outright. But I guess it's good to be racing hard in a practice session, just to get your racing brain back on. A few of these guys did jump into the Legends support race, but the majority of the drivers in this field have had a little bit of a break. So it'll be good to get their racing heads back screwed on. And hopefully for Riley Preston, he doesn't make that mistake in the race. That grass on the exit of turn 5, certainly treacherous. But the checkered flag is now out, and we'll be able to go to the starting grid for race 2. As I mentioned just before, it's basically the same as the finishing order from race 1. So, in first place is going to be Bo Albert. Cameron Dance on the front row with him. Thomas Hinz and Benjamin Faulkner on row 2 with Preston and Jones on row 3. Hopefully they don't come together like they did in race 1. Timothy Fabian and Sebastian Flox start from 7th and 8th, with Sebastian Flox's magnificent pace starting from the back in the previous race. Let's see how far up he can climb this time, as the top 10 are rounded out by Luke Swan and Scott Stevens.
Yeah, Brent Hender, the teammate to Scott, will be seeing that battle continue. Adam Gardner, this will be a chance for redemption in this one, having started so far up the front and unfortunately having an accident. Jalen Mulhauner in 13th, Isaac Edwards 14th, Reese Harnell in 15th, Adam Moore in 16th, Mark Noble 17th, Brady Baldwin in 18th spot, and looks like rounding out the field in 19th is Shane Best.
The number 122 starting from the back after a couple of spins and a retirement in the first race. The revs are rising. We're getting onto a very quick start here as the lights are about to come on here. The sun sets on Road Atlanta and the sun rises on another race. And Bo Albert, again, not getting the best of starts, but both he and Cam Dance getting the jump on the rest of the field. Dance is ahead into turn 1, but Albert with the inside line takes the lead and keeps it as, oh, there's a spin in the back there. And oh no, Timothy Fabian and Kobe Jones both out. Jaden Mollenhauer too. Goodness me, there's 4 cars off. Sebastian Flock and, wow. There was another car there. I think that might have been Mark Noble, who was also involved in that. And Brett Hender, too. That was a very messy incident there off at the start.
There's a lot of damage to that Fusion car at the moment. He's not looking happy at all. We'll have to see if we can get a replay of that one when we can. But we were talking about how good the start was last race, but we got another car around as well, the 122 of Shane Best. So, oh man, last start was fantastic, but this one has a few broken cars already on the opening lap. So, fortunately, no safety car at this point. I was a bit worried that we may have seen one sort of reset the field a bit, but no, we're still green at the moment. And a few drivers be a bit disappointed with that start.
Yeah, certainly will. It was all triggered by Kobe Jones having a little bit of contact with Timothy Fabian and turning him around. The safety car is out. And we've got a car stopped there. That is Jaden Mollenhauer. He was one of the cars off at turn 1 and evidently a bit too damaged to continue. So it looks like Brett Hender also stopped on track as well. Unfortunate for him because he's put the current Fusion Sim Racing livery on the car. And that's a very unfortunate way for that livery to be introduced there for Brett Hender. So safety car is now out and driven by Henry King. No, Ben Christensen, sorry. Driving the Racing Sims safety car there. We're going to queue up a replay of the start so we can just take you through what's gone on in that first corner. But yeah, that's very disappointing to see, Simon. I was hoping that everyone will be able to get through.
Yeah, absolutely. A bit of a jump there. You can see the back middle of the field. Check up a little bit now. Here's where we're looking at the moment. We're looking at Kobe Jones, as you said earlier. Oh, there's a bit of a touch. Whoa, that is a weird one. He's tapped the back. Yeah, he's tapped the back of Fabian, but it's strange how the rear of the cars come around. Like, usually you wouldn't expect it doing that. We can see, oh, there's one of the Race on Oz cars going around. There's cars everywhere. So it's strange how those two cars have then just triggered. We'll go for a look with another view here. Be interested to see sort of if there's a camera shot towards the back as they head into turn 1. But there's the contact. You can see everyone else trying to avoid it. Sebastian Flock. Oh, that's a big hit as well. That's going to be a lot of damage. And yeah, as we saw, the car not able to continue. But that's a strange one and an unfortunate start for this race.
Yeah, very unfortunate indeed. Jaden Mollenhauer reacting to the incident happening ahead of him, went for a spin and then a couple of cars collected him. And you saw when we were looking at Brett Hender, very unfortunate contact between teammates there because Scott Stevens was taking avoiding action to keep himself out of the incident, ended up going sideways and Brett Hender collected him. Here's Shane Best, and this was happening by himself through turn 5, just took a bit too much curb on the inside and unsettled the car.
Yeah, probably the tamest of incidents on that opening lap. But yeah, everyone under safety car, lights ablaze, getting a bit dark out there at the moment. But yeah, safety car conditions. We'll see how long we are going to be under safety car for. Because it looks like most of the pack has caught up. So fingers crossed we can go green this time by. You can see the safety car driver on screen in the Zoom room doing looks like he's working hard, really concentrating to keep the car on the track at the moment with these cars behind him. So yeah, very much concentration going on that face.
Just keeping an eye out there is Mr. Christensen. Hearing a couple of whispers on InSim chat. There's a couple of drivers asking for some other stuff to be reviewed. But Mr. Christensen driving the Porsche Cayman GT4, which is one of the it is the preferred car in the GT4 class when it's racing, but it's still quite a handful to drive at racing speed. So I think Ben is counting his blessings that he's just driving it sedately around the circuit at the moment.
What would be good to know is in the iRacing world, obviously we are aware of the new Porsche GT3R about to come to iRacing. I wonder if they're going to swap that out and let Ben go for a lap in that thing, because that'd be good to see as a safety car. But anyways, we'll focus back on this one. Safety car's pulled away from the field. We are getting ready for a start. Bo will be in control of the field. We can see everyone weaving to get some temp back into their tyres. It's a nice, cool track out there, so the start's going to be critical. Bo checking the field up very nicely at the moment.
Yeah, staying at roughly 90 kilometers per hour on the way down to 10A and 10B. They're on lap 3 of 25, and they will come around to start lap 4, obviously, when they cross the line. It's just going to be a single file start here. Now it's going to be up to Bo as to when he goes. He can go just about any time he likes from now, but he's going to keep the field checked up here over the crest, and there's a bit of a concertina behind him as everyone waits for him to go. Down the hill, and he leaves it as late as he possibly can, just before the last turn to get it going, and he hasn't been able to quite get away from Cameron Dance, immediately weaving down the straight to break the draft as there's a little bit of a crush behind. I saw a bit of a slow start from Adam Gardner. He is now side by side with Reese Harnell, and Harnell just running a little bit wide on the exit of turn 1, allows the door open for Brady Baldwin into turn 3, and oh dear, contact. Take it easy, boys. Baldwin just getting away with that one.
Oh, I thought that was going to be looking at another safety car there. The little touch in the quarter, it's so easy to unsettle these cars, especially when you tag them there. So very good car control by Brady, and very good on Reese Harnell to actually get out of that one as well and not push the issue, cause an accident there. So you can see cars happening in the background. Seb Flock, he's going to have to do it again in this race. He had to drive through the field last one. Well, now he's going to have to do the exact same thing again. Gets another spot done. Kobe Jones, another one to have to drive through this field, up another spot. So we'll keep an eye on these two, because I reckon they're going to be coming through the field bloody quick.
Riley Preston with a brilliant draft here on Cameron Dance, goes for the move at 10A, but not quite close enough to get it done. A slight lock up there from Cameron Dance, and that's going to ruin his run through the chicane. Preston, though, unable to respond, at least for a couple more corners. Bo Albert is starting to pull away here. Oh, Albert off at the final corner is, I think that's the incident you were exclaiming at, Simon.
That'll be the one. I just looked back at Sim, and yeah, I saw a couple of the cars spinning. We'll see if we can get a look on replay. Just having a look myself. Shane Best looks like he sent it a bit too deep on that one. But yeah, this battle pack at the moment, up front at the moment. Cam and Riley getting into it in this instance. So Bo just a little bit further up front. Cam's gone around.
Oh no, Cameron Dance heavy into the wall. That's big rear end contact, and that's where the engine is. Doesn't look like there's much in the way of visual damage for him, but man, he will not be happy with that one as we check out Scott Stevens trying to fend off Adam Gardner here into turn 6. Let's take another look then, thanks to Virtual Racing School, at what happened to Cameron Dance. Just a big old whack in the rear on the way into the tyre wall. So when did this happen for him? Oh, he just got a bit crossed up through the right-hander, and then the car swung back on him as he went to turn in. He just hit the curb ever so slightly wrong, which is very easy to do around this track.
Yeah, absolutely. Very easy to do. I'm not looking forward to being in that debrief room at the end of this race with Cam, because I don't think he's going to have very, very optimal words. But the battle will continue up front. So now we're going to have the straight fight between Riley Preston and Bo Albert, just a little bit behind at the moment. It's about 0.9 of a second the gap, but you can also see in the background Thomas Hinz as well. He is not far from this group. Luke Swan as well, just off the back too. So there's a few positions here that could change depending on how this race goes on. We're only about 6 laps in at the moment, so you can see the pack fielding going through the S's right now. Everyone's
Jones.
together.
Kobe Jones and, a Fusion Sim Racing car spun as well out of turn 5. That's Scott Stevens who's made his way into the wall. But Kobe Jones having an absolute horror night here. In the first race, he had his incident with Riley Preston. In the second race, he was caught up in the start incident, and now he's had a spin at turn 5.
Just sometimes it is not your night. And gotta feel sorry for Kobe. It had fantastic pace in quali and had fantastic race pace at the start. So, he'd be feeling a bit sore tonight about how it went. Definitely felt like he would be deserving of a lot more. We're on board with Sebastian Flock at the moment, currently in 9th place, looking at the back of P8 in front, which is Brady Baldwin. And I think he would be getting this one done very quickly. You can just see up on the screen, Riley Preston just punched in the fastest lap of the race. So that battle's going to continue. Sebastian straight up the inside. Brady's not going to make it too difficult. Up into P8, and now he's got Cam Dance a couple of seconds down the road.
Indeed, very hobbled Cameron Dance after getting the engine into the tyre barriers there. Meanwhile, up the front, Bo Albert and Riley Preston, half a second between them for the lead of the race. I've been looking forward to this battle all night. We only had it for a lap or so at the start of race 1, but here, as the sun has gone down, the lights come on and the heat turns up. Draft for the Evolution Racing Team driver. Altus Esports ahead, the team that splintered off from Evolution Racing Team a few years ago. Majority made up of former drivers from Evolution Racing Team. So these are former teammates that we're seeing battling at the moment. And Preston got a good run on Albert down the back straight that time. Still not quite close enough to make it work, but Albert is using every bit of the racetrack and a little bit of the grass as well to try and stay ahead as Preston puts in another fastest lap, 1 minute 21.283. How long will it be before we start seeing lap times in the 1 minute 20s, I wonder?
Yeah, the pace is definitely picking up. And we saw in the last race, Riley's pace towards the end of the race was just phenomenal. The way this keeps going, maybe, I think to see the 20s would not be too hard to believe. Also noticing as well, just a bit further back, Benjamin Faulkner and Adam Gardner, that battle is picking up as well. They have been all over each other the last few laps. Actually, we've got a car as well. It looks like Luke Swan's actually gone backwards. He's only just come back onto the track, so I think there was another mistake. He falls in behind Cam Dance. He was up into 4th place, so that's going to be bitterly disappointing for Luke.
Yeah, and he started in 9th as well. He took advantage of that crush at the start. Let's see what happened to him. Is this another victim of turn 5? Possibly the turn before it as well. Oh, yeah, there we go. The car just got a little crossed up on entry and he had to take some avoiding action to prevent the car from spinning. He's lost an awful lot of momentum, so Swan now back into 7th place. He's going to have to try and make his way back past Cameron Dance as... wow, the battle's really heating up here. Up at the front, Riley Preston on Bo Albert, on his bumper almost, coming into the first turn. But have a look at Adam Gardner and Cameron Dance. Dance is going for the move here on Gardner into turn 1. And it's a 4-car battle here as Dance gets a little crossed up over the curb, loses a tiny bit of momentum out of turn 1. But Adam Gardner cannot take advantage. So now Benjamin Faulkner and Luke Swan right behind him. This is going to get pretty intense, as is this battle up the front.
Just don't know where to look. Everywhere you go, the battle for the lead's going on. The battle for the spots just inside the top 5, that's going on as well. So this race is once again delivering. You've got different battle groups, English. The Gorops. Different battle groups forming in this one, and it's not going to just be this battle now. It's going to be as they go through the thing, because you've got to remember too, looking back, Seb Flock is catching that group as well. It's battling for the top 5, and yep, we'll have to definitely keep an eye on the battle in front. You can see Riley having a little bit of a look, a bit of a flash from Bo Albert. I wonder what that might have been about, but he's actually made a really mess of B, and that's going to be an invitation for Riley Preston. He's going to have that spot done. Bo not going to fight, but he's going to try and get a good run out of the final turn as they head down to turn 1. Bo in the draft. There's a little bit of a flash for both of them, actually. And into turn 1. not going to have a look there. I think Bo might sit behind for a little bit and wait till they get into the back straight before he has a look at another move.
Yep, I think that would be the way he's going as the battle for 4th and 5th place continues just behind them. There is the Fusion Sim Racing car of Scott Stevens with Mark Noble, who's celebrating 10 years in sim racing today. Virtual Racing School replay of a move between them. That's Scott Stevens making his way past Mr. Noble. Both of these guys have been into sim racing for quite some time, and a nice clean pass between them, though both are a little bit stricken, carrying damage. Meanwhile, Bo Albert has fallen a bit back here from Riley Preston, and Preston's goal here will be to try and gap Bo Albert, try and break the draft. He's not been successful at that so far. Bo not going for the move there. He's electing to stay behind for another lap.
Yeah, that car really pulled up quickly as they came down the back stretch to sort of had the little kink into the braking zone. So, because it didn't seem like it was really catching that much in the draft, and then yeah, just sort of right at the end caught up. So, interesting to see different settings. You sort of mentioned there's not a whole lot of adjustment you could do in these things, and this is what makes these cars so much of a driver car, because you know, the only real thing you could adjust is some of the ride height settings and brake bias, and that's more tuned to the driver. It's not really so much going to change how the car handles and everything else. So it's you're more just tuning the car to what the driver likes. So you know, you may find that maybe they've got different wing settings, and that's why we sort of make note that that thing of Riley Preston's looks so quick in a straight line. Maybe he's got a different wing setting compared to the guys around him that allows him to do that. So yeah, just interesting, the little things that you could do just to make the setup just to suit you that little bit more.
Kobe Jones, not much has been suiting him in this race so far. He's right behind Reese Harnell as, once again, the draft for Bo Albert, and he's pulling out to go for a move at the chicane. How many more times are we going to see this happen as Albert goes for it into the chicane and manages to just gather it up in time? Gets a bit crossed up on exit, though. Preston sees a little bit of a whiff at a move up the inside to the final turn, but doesn't go for it. There's no sense in trying to push the envelope through there. So Bo Albert now back into the lead across the line as they start lap 12. At the end of this one, it will be just about half race distance. Virtual Racing School replay. Let's have another look at what happened there. Actually, we're going to take a look here at Kobe Jones, because it looks like he has made his way past.
Yeah, heading down the back straight up towards 10A. Now, these are little curves because America likes to make bends corner numbers. This will be turn 9. You can see he's on the inside as they head down into 10A. Looks fairly academic at this point. Yep, job done. Harnell not going to make it too difficult for him as they come out of the corner. So Kobe up into the top 10. Next target down the road will be Brady Baldwin, who's only about 4 seconds down the road. As we go back to this battle up front, Riley Preston closing in. Is he going to have a look? No, breezed off the throttle. He's going to stay behind. Now, this is interesting to me, is whether they were going to actually fight hard or whether they were going to sort of, as you say, save themselves towards the end of this race. The gap back to Thomas Hinz is about 5.6 seconds, and they're comfortably pulling that gap out. So I don't think we'll see much battling going on at this point until probably, you know, with a few more laps to go.
Yeah, they're just going to try and shadow each other as best they can. Brett Hender has retired. Ultimately, that car was too damaged to continue racing. So Fusion Sim Racing are one man down, and Scott Stevens is their only car left, currently in 12th place, trying his best to catch up to Reese Harnell and drop Adam Moore. Meanwhile, we check out the battle for 4th place. Cameron Dance still heading this one up with the Mach 1 car of Adam Gardner, Benjamin Faulkner and Luke Swan in hot pursuit, and these guys have just not been able to leave each other alone. Cameron, of course, might be carrying a slight bit of damage to the rear end, which is part of the reason why he hasn't been able to shake these guys. But Adam Gardner, with a clean car, is looking very aggressive here, and now they are on the straight, and that means draft time.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Adam would be definitely looking at making amends for that last race. Had a fantastic qualifying, but just unfortunately that incident at the start. Cam moving right to the right-hand side. Adam not wanting to look for the draft, going as they head down the straight, closing up a little bit into the braking zone, but not really going to have a look. So can already see the alternate lines starting to appear a little bit, which is interesting. I thought, yeah, it would have been in the draft, but either way, he must have a plan, must know what he's doing. We'll have faith in that, but Cam just not able to break this pack at the moment. It was only a little bit, actually no, Adam was a little bit faster that time around, so interesting to see if he'll, once again, if this is going to be a bit of a slow burner that we'll see sort of evolve as the race goes on.
Yeah, oh, big mistake there from Adam Gardner. He went for a big old slide coming out of turn 3. Unfortunately, Benjamin Faulkner wasn't able to take advantage of that because it's very much a one-liner. And Gardner just getting slightly compromised out of turn 5. Faulkner gives him a little bit of a look in the mirrors. The psychological games really starting now in these battles. If you weave around a little bit behind your competitor, give them a bit of an extra movement in their mirrors, can potentially distract them and pressure them into a mistake. That'll be partially what Faulkner would be hoping for Gardner, just to rattle him a little bit, because that mistake will be taking Gardner a little bit of time to recover from. Dance now has a bit of breathing room as there's another small look from Benjamin Faulkner.
Yeah. The mental game in motor racing sort of does get talked about a fair bit, but it's fairly understated how important it is, and it's the exact same with sim racing. You know, the mental game is the big one. You can see Kobe Jones as well making a move, getting Brady Baldwin up, so he'll move up into P9 there. But
oh, hello.
Battle for the lead still going. No, actually, Riley's back in front.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say, and as we go to the virtual racing school replay, on that pass between Kobe Jones and Brady Baldwin, Brady let him go there. I heard them conversing about it over the radio. Brady just electing to let him go, too fast to battle with, and there is the move for Mr. Riley Preston. Just another straight up outbraking move at the chicane, so back into the lead for the number 3. And Bo Albert still very much equal on pace with Riley Preston. So now that they're at that point of the track again, he is a little bit too far back to make a move as it stands, but a little bit more aggressive curb usage there in the left-hander from Bo Albert, just gaining him slight hundredths, possibly thousandths of a second as the battle for 4th continues. Wow, Cameron Dance still holding on very well to this one. Adam Gardner has not been able to drop Faulkner and Swan.
Yeah, just keeping tabs on this little battle pack, because I feel like this is going to evolve towards the end of this one. But yeah, everyone seems to be about the same pace. Cam can't quite break the draft away from the cars behind. But these two, Adam and Benjamin, they just seem way too close in pace at the moment, and that can be so difficult when you're right behind the car in front, you're all over the rear bumper, but you just don't quite have enough pace to be able to get in front. So but patience in these situations is probably going to pay off in the end, saving the car, saving the tires towards the end of this one. Patience for these two, not so much. They've been swapping positions a little bit in this one. We can see Bo right up the rear bumper. Oh, car off at the moment. It looks like that's Luke Swan as well. Gone again. That's his second mistake tonight. Does keep it off the wall, but the battle for the lead is definitely going off.
Yeah, Bo Albert right on the rear bumper now of Riley Preston. Coming into 10A and 10B, there is no change for position between them, but they're going to keep this going until the very bitter end. And I saw that spin for Luke Swan happen live, but I didn't want to shout out an exclamation and try and distract you from the point you were trying to make, Simon. But yeah, I agree. That's a big shame for Luke Swan. He's not going to be too happy with himself for that one. He's fallen back now to 10th place and a little bit further down the road behind him, Reese Harnell and Scott Stevens. Harnell has fallen back a bit now, and Scott Stevens, despite the slight damage that he is carrying, still extracting some pretty good pace from that car.
Yeah, definitely driving very well. Oh, using every little inch of the track there. Don't really want to go anywhere. You can see on the front right of that car, it'll definitely be having some effect. There's no way that data damage is not sort of affecting the aero performance of the car, but still doing a fantastic job just holding on to the back of Harnell. Definitely be looking at making a move. Just got past a little bit of information.
Adam Gardner. Oh dear. Formerly in 5th place, and it looks like that was a spin all on his own. That's an odd spin there. He just caught the inside curb at turn 6, and that sent the car into a slide. Good avoiding action taken there by Benjamin Faulkner, but that's 2 cars in the 4th place battle in the space of a lap that have put themselves out of contention. Real shame to see.
Yeah, absolutely. And it looked like that spin started so early, and it's so easy for these cars. Obviously, the engine sitting over the rear of the car, you tend to run a lot of rear brake bias on these things as well. So when they start to go, they generally start to do it a bit early. You can see on screen at the moment the lap times, a little bit of a lap 15, a bit of a gap there, but other than that, they're spot on each other. They are just running laps at this point, and Harnell's around by the looks of it.
Oh, no.
Yeah, was in that battle with Scott Stevens, so I wonder what's happened there. We'll have a quick look at a replay, and hang on, we'll go back and look at that again.
Yeah, well, Harnell was going defensive there versus Scott Stevens, but it looks like he just caught the rear brakes on the entry into the chicane and spun it round by himself and went straight head on into the wall. Well, that's something that he'll definitely be kicking himself about.
Yeah, that was just very unfortunate. Hard to sort of decipher what happened there, but yeah, it was looking to be a really good battle. So, but anyway, battle up front still continues. We're going to be coming to the line. We'll have 7 to go after this one. But and look at him, Bo. Oh, jeez. Don't be doing that, Bo. The grass has caught a lot of drivers out tonight. We've seen earlier on, so I don't think you'd really want to be finding yourself out there again. I think we're going to get a look on replay about that. We're going to go on board with Bo and just lets it drift out. And at that point, you're clenching, and you're clenching even more, and he just holds onto it as well. So I think the eyes would have been very wide at that point for Bo there.
Yeah, absolutely. Slight wiggle for Riley Preston just up ahead coming into turn 7. Bo Albert back on the headlight flash. It is his favourite button in all of sim racing. Some say that he presses the headlight flash button more than he presses the throttle. But have a look at the weaving from Bo, trying to distract his former teammate. And by former, I mean a few years ago before. Goodness me, what a great battle this has been for the lead. Bo trying his best to get a straight exit out of 10B. Try and get a run on Riley, but it's just not happening for the time being, and he stays well away from the grass this time. The grass certainly not your friend here at Road Atlanta. Just backs off slightly from Preston coming into the braking zone, but then right back onto the bumper as slight usage of the brake on the way in to turn 3 for both of the drivers. Using the curb very nicely to hook the cars around the corner. But you see just how dark it's getting now. The drivers really only have their headlights to light the way before them. It's just coming up to 8:30 p.m. in sim time, so visibility is definitely at a premium right now.
Yeah, definitely. And we do know that, we obviously have the Petit Le Mans that occurs at this event. I'm not quite familiar with it if it doesn't or doesn't have lights on the racetrack. Obviously, in iRacing at the moment, we don't have lights for this track. So, it's a bit sort of like the Nordschleife, where 90% of the track, there's no lights there. You've just got to go on your headlights. And looks like Bo playing a little bit of Morse code on the rear bumper of Riley Preston as they head into 10A. right up close. I tell you what, they are right on the adhesion levels right there. So another lap down, will be 5 to go at the line. And I just think that this is going to come down to the last lap. I think either driver doesn't really want to play their cards as yet. And just wait and see. We can see on screen Baldwin and Swan going for it as they head up towards 10B.
Indeed, Swan trying to work his way back up here on the inside of Brady Baldwin, and that is Brady just given the position there. Once again, didn't make it too difficult for the passing driver, and he's going to try and stay in his draft, try and follow him further up the field. That is Luke Swan now back up to P9, which is where he started. Oh, this is looking quite interesting. We see Reese Harnell in the midst of his fight here with Shane Best and Isaac Edwards. Shane Best recovering from a spin himself in the opening laps, as that's big curb usage from Reese Harnell. So let's see if Isaac Edwards can keep himself in this particular fight. This is the battle for 13th position, as Albert, once again, just staying behind in the braking zone. You know what I think he's doing? I think he is trying to line up a last lap pass, because he knows that if he goes for the move on Riley, I mean, Preston's just going to shadow him all the way around the next lap and get him right back. So he's got to be careful as to when he tries out this move. As I've just seen, Reese Harnell has gone for another spin in the S's.
Have to grab that one. We can see, oh, there he is. Not looking the optimal direction there. We can see got the leaders coming through the S's as well. So hopefully you can see them coming on board with Riley Preston at the moment coming down the hill. Tell you what, as you mentioned earlier, yeah, light is very much a premium at this point. You can hardly see the track. Bo's just going to have a rear bumper in front of him. He can't see anything in front. It will just be those tail lights. So he's just sitting there at the moment. And yeah, I think you're 100% right. I think this is going to come down to the last couple of laps. But at the same time, last couple of laps, Riley's going to be defending very, very closely as well. So it definitely won't be easy. It will not be an easy pass. Riley's going to make this as difficult as possible. But yeah, I feel like that's where it's going to happen.
Another headlight flash, though, from Bo. Trying to distract Preston on the way into the braking zone. There's no rules on when to use your headlights, if any. So Bo is free to use that flashy flash button whenever he likes. But lap 23, we have 3 laps to go here at Road Atlanta. And I love this fast turn 1 coming up the hill. It's almost like Cops at Silverstone, but with a bit of extra elevation change.
Oh dear. And yep, now the S section coming down, and it's a massive drop off at this point, and using the curbs. So you got to commend these two, and that's why they're leading the field at the moment, and that's why they're just at that level. Is every time they come through, they're using every little bit of inch, but they're doing it spot on, millimeter perfect every single lap. So both of them just as good as each other, trying to use every single little bit. Bo grabbing a bit of the inside curve, trying to get a bit more rotation, try and drive it off the core. Riley got a very, very nice drive off that corner. Now Riley's getting on the flash button because we can see lap traffic of Harnell just in front. First thing that's going to be coming in their mind is we don't want lap traffic, because this could be an opportunity for Bo as well. Lap traffic can play a factor, especially in multi-class racing. Lap traffic does play a massive factor in the battling as well. If you get caught up, you could be used for an overtake. So hopefully coming out of the last corner, Harnell will see them coming and get out of the way. You can see him slowing up there. Yep, pulling to the side, let them both go. Fantastic work there by Reese.
Yeah, good stuff there from Harnell. Saw them battling and let them go post-haste so they can continue their fight for the win here with 2 laps to go. More headlight flashing for Albert, this time in the braking zone for turn 3. Meanwhile, elsewhere on track, Sebastian Flock and Adam Gardner. There's been a position change there. Gardner has got back by. So Adam still with a good advancement from where he started. Remember, he was 12th on the grid, now up into 6th. And this is how the move was made. Just a textbook outbraking maneuver down there at 10A and managed to pull it up very nicely despite the difference in speed between them.
Yep, very good job there. And you can see the gap hasn't really changed. Seb still hanging off the back, so that fight may not be over. But we're looking at when they get to the line, they'll be on the last lap next time round. Is this where Bo's going to have the look? You can see Riley hugging the left-hand side because that's where Bo's going to want to go. Want to try and go to the inside. Now, back, forth, bit of a movement there towards the braking zone, but it's all good. Harnell in the background just hanging on and wanted to get front row seats to this battle as they begin out of the final corner to begin the final lap. This is going to be intense. What can Bo do? Riley's going to be obviously defending as hard as he can. He knows where Bo, by now he would know where Bo is definitely the better car, the better setup, knows where he can take advantage of it. And this battle between these two is still going on as well. And Kobe Jones has just got himself involved as well.
Yeah, this is going to be a big fight here on the final lap. Who's going to be the victor out of that one? In terms of the battle between Preston and Albert, I noticed that Preston lifted off on the straight. You saw how close they were on the back straight on the last lap. He wasn't on the throttle. He was actually decreasing in speed. They were 3 seconds off the pace on the last lap. So there's, I think, a little bit of gamesmanship there from Riley Preston. Not sure what the go was there, but it all comes down to this. Bo Albert has lost the gap there to Riley Preston, and the weave begins. I don't think Bo's going to be close enough to get this done. He's missed his chance. That is very unfortunate. Well, let's see if Riley Preston can just hold him off here for the next couple of corners. So it's a win apiece, it seems, here for both Bo Albert and Riley Preston, as Preston comes across the line to take victory here in race 2. But I'm not too sure how Bo Albert's going to be feeling about that run on the back straight on the penultimate lap. Thomas Hinz is going to come home to finish 3rd once again, with Cameron Dance holding on for 4th place. He made his way back up there. And Sebastian Flock off the track at the final couple of corners. So both Jones and Adam Gardner have gotten by him there, but it's going to be Gardner up in front just by a bumper from Mr. Jones.
Yeah, I think we'll get a look on the replay about that one. I think Flock just missed his braking point. Well, watch him as they go here. He's on the outside. He's just got a nose in front, so he's going to try and go the outside, and that just looks like there is no brakes going on there. Eddie's just completely missed it. Yeah, just thought, nah, I'll just keep going straight ahead. He'll have a slowdown for that one, definitely, but yeah, only loses those 2 spots out of it.
Well, Riley Preston flashing his headlights in satisfaction at his performance, and his pace was absolutely immaculate, as was Bo Albert, who eventually comes home in 2nd by 4/10. Thomas Hinz, though, with a double podium, he can certainly be happy with that. Cameron Dance, unfortunately, could not make his way back up to the podium positions, but 4th is going to be good for him as Faulkner completes the top 5. Adam Gardner, Kobe Jones, and Sebastian Flock round out the top 8. Luke Swan coming home where he started in 9th, with Brady Baldwin making up 8 positions to round out the top 10.
We'll flick over. Scott Stevens in P11. Adam Moore coming home in 12th. Shane Best moving up 6 spots to come home in 13th. Mark Noble in 14th spot. Reese Harnell coming home in 15th. Isaac Edwards coming home in 16th. Timothy Febben will be the start of our DNFs. Unfortunate early contact. And then we'll round it out with Jaden Molnar and Brett Hender rounding out the grid.
Yeah, unfortunate for Mollenhauer and Hender. Ben Christensen in the safety car actually classified ahead of them. That shows you how terribly race 2 went for them. Well, that brings to an end another night of racing in the Racing Sims V8SCOPS support series. 3 brilliant races tonight. Bo Albert will be a bit unhappy, I think, with the way the battle turned out with Riley Preston. It is certainly going to be something to talk about in future rounds. I'm Reese Gardner, Simon Mazzomo alongside me for this one, Jay Kennedy, also jumping in for comms in the Legends race and directing the whole way through. From all of us at SimSpeed TV, it's bye for now, but not forever. We'll be back tomorrow for the International Majors Series, and then later on in the weekend, Virtual Racing School V8SCOPS, also at Road Atlanta.
This is fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction, he's got everything outside of both of them! Maloney!
Oh, he's taking Anderson. Anderson's up to
Oh my god! Oh! Big crash! Oh my goodness, half the field's gonna get rolled!
Six very close. These guys I want to make their way through the field very quickly. Oh, there we go. Oh no! That's massive. This is it. This is over. I can't believe this. Oh my god.
God, what?